And howdy, folks. I'm really blurry, but welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I, now in focus, am Joe Treff, and joining me tonight, as always, we have Matt, Miles, Allie, and Tina. We normally play in person, but we are playing at home during the events that are happening in the world now for safety. But for the time being, we are using Discord. We are, as always, kind of tweaking things. You may notice the overlay a little different than it has been in the past. Some last minute tweaks from Matt and Tina actually making that possible. So we tried to broaden things out just a little bit and let people see just a little bit more of things that are happening, not just half of Allie and Miles each.
So we actually have four. Right now, looking at Allie's.
Oh, nice! Yeah.
No one mentioned it to me right now before we started.
There you go. Picture.
Talon, thank you, of course, for the bits. So, getting into things tonight, we have a couple of announcements. First, we have Dib Bad OUP, who did our awesome Shay Gamble art, and is currently working on a new project for us. We are doing the Flight of the Iron Hawk, and it is miraculous. It's super cool. Can't wait for people to see that art. The scene is going to be really cool. The little details are going to be super cool. So definitely go check out Dib Bad OUP on Instagram. They have been doing some cool watercolor stuff for us. And then Wildbot 3D for sending us some really cool status rings so that when we do meet in person and we are back to using our little I just caught Gunter. Our little custom minis that we had made for the campaign. Although, Gunter, maybe we have to get a little adjustment here, just snip off the beard. But super cool status markers that can mark the blessed or cursed conditions or unconscious, what have you. Pretty much all the conditions within Dungeons and Dragons, and then even a couple set up for your magic effect or physical effect should you want to work in some homebrew. So super cool. Thank you, Wildbot 3D, for that. And I think the only other thing that I wanted to say before we get started. So if you do have questions, send them to cast@alberonrpg.com so that we can answer them. One of the most common questions that has come up, which I think is a really interesting one, is so basically everybody keeps saying, how come I know nobody has a last name? And that's a really interesting point. So far, canonically, we're not even sure that we know everybody's first name. Because this group is real slow to trust. We have, I believe, touched on your last name, Gunter, a couple times. So I'm not gonna throw that out there. But if you go back, you can find that. But yeah, there are. I don't know if you guys want to answer that or what, but
it's Gunter is actually his last name.
Oh yeah,
it's Old. Old is his first name.
True. And tons of middles.
Yeah, it's on the stone birth certificate that's like 3 feet wide and just has a whole bunch of different names on it.
It has like an extendable section, so as he adds middle names, it just keeps growing.
Old. Like
with the
old
E.
sign.
Yeah,
Old Gunter. Yeah. That's canon.
So if you do have questions, send them to us. We can get them answered. That's just one of the ones that I've seen come up a little bit more. But yeah, aside from that, typically we do use Sirenscape, and that may be coming back to sessions coming next week. We'll see. Tina's been doing a ton of work, and when I say a ton, an actual metric ton of work to try to figure out how to make it work. We did some tests this week. We've progressed a little bit further, so that will be super cool. But aside from that, those are all of our announcements for this evening. So we can get into our recap. Last time that we played D&D Finger Gang, you guys found yourselves finally within the pillar of stairs that connects the Undercity to Coltaram above. Our party, for those of you who have not joined in, and I'm sorry, I seem to have something stuck in my throat. But our party, for those of you who have not joined us from the beginning, we have Shay, our human monk, Gunter, our incredibly old dwarven cleric who now looks like a burnt match head because his beard, which is like, I don't know, like 20% of your mass just gone. And also your nose hairs and your eyelashes and stuff like that we discussed.
Everything's gone. It's all gone.
It's all gone. We have Morwin, the Tabaxi rogue who hails from the west coast of Dominion. And then we have Heinrich, our tiefling warlock, who is serving their second patron and taking the path of the Celestial. So, Finger Gang, you found yourselves within the pillar of stairs. You progressed up the opening staircase across frayed and ripped carpet and broken furniture and made your way into a room affectionately known as the Elemental Moiter Hole. This room, with the arcane crystal shackled in each corner to the ground, emitting blasts of elemental energy, of force, of necrotic damage. Shay, you were able to just dart through the room, completely untouched by multiple blasts, almost every 2 seconds from these traps. You were able to open the door, and then through a variety of spell casting and just quick movement, you were all able to make your way through without too much trouble into a longer hallway with a sunken in portion. You made your way along the high path. Gunter, you leading the charge, not terribly stealthily. Coming face an 8 actually. But you guys made your way in, and Gunter, disturbing the peace just a little bit too much, you were faced with a massive creature, chitinous white armor, oozing wounds that seem to gape or to spill forth this sort of green toxin or poison, and then you banished it. And so didn't have to fight that really cool homebrewed monster. So, that happened. You made your way through the room, completely disregarding that encounter, found your way through the door and up another set of stairs. There you came into a smaller room with an iron gate, a slightly exposed shelf emerging from it. You also found a body pinned to the wall. Gunter, you, after careful examination, determining that it was dead, cast Speak with Dead. You asked it a couple of questions, not all terribly relevant to your situation. I believe your final question was, can I get you a glass of water or something? And I think one of your other questions was, how's it going? But
yeah, I think so.
Still casting a very cool spell and using it to get a little bit of information, you were able to figure out that the small metallic tiles scattered about its feet, an old system of magic known as Arcana tiles, and piecing it together tile by tile, you were able to discover it worked somewhat like a coding language. There were tiles that were if-then qualifiers. There was a tile that meant dwarf, which led to a lot of experimentation around Gunter. Gunter, you were set on fire. Gunter, you lost all of your hair to the Arcana tiles. And there is a dim chance, it seems, that perhaps your hair may grow black blonde. But eventually you found a combination that would allow you to progress. You made your way up yet again, finding yourselves within an elongated tunnel, a barred room off, or hallway really, that led to a teleportation circle off to your right. But further ahead you heard voices, and you progressed, led by Gunter, distraught over the loss of his beard and other hair, singular. You made your way forward and investigating, not terribly stealthily. You came across a dragonborn, a dwarf, an orc, and a human, all huddled around a fire in a room that seemed to be sort of a corridor that has been barricaded and set up into maybe a camp of some kind. And that is where we're going to jump in for tonight. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to our Twitch chat so I can give you guys a little bit of this. The room in which we are actually currently in. And then there is also going to be a little bit of this, which is the set of people that you are currently facing. Now, Gunter, from what and actually all of you. Oh, looks like we lost Allie and Miles for a second.
No, we're good.
Oh, you guys are back. Fantastic.
Oh, I don't have to go back yet.
Your video is off.
Is it?
Yes,
Oh,
it is.
You've got a cute little
There we
Yeah.
go. Maybe.
Sorry about
Are we all back?
Yep.
Mhm.
Now, all of you are in various places. Gunter, you leading the charge, are kind of the first in line. And you can see you are closest to the orc, whose back is to the wall that you just emerged around. So that first chair that you see in the northernmost position of the room. Seated next to him, you can see the human, the one voice that you didn't hear. Blonde hair, really dirty, looks tired. He's hunched over, but he's looking up at you with these sort of bags underneath his eyes. There is a dwarf, a Koltaram dwarf, who's kneeling down next to looks like a cooking pot or a campfire of some sort. It's where those very good smells were coming from, actual meat and vegetables, where you have had nothing but different kinds of foods that had bloodworm, the sort of staple of the Undercity. You, yeah. You also see across from them, hand on one of the tables, standing fully erect, a dragonborn. Red, shiny, glistening scales, very different from Ovark's sort of shatter-scaled, that milky, sort of mildewy looking fungus that had infected him. This is a full dragonborn. You can see he's wearing scale mail. The scales themselves seem enameled or painted, perhaps, but they're each individual shades of sort of blue or white or pale gray. You could see by his side there is like a scimitar, long curved sword, and he also has kind of on the table next to him a shield, which shows fairly hastily painted the profile of a purple dragon. Very much like this little guy right here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to focus, but and at this moment, you heard the Dragonborn shout out to fetch Aluktai. And I need everybody to roll for initiative because we're starting in combat, which is fantastic.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's unfortunate. They both rolled 2.
Oh, yes. Natural 20.
Okay, hang on one sec.
Which,
Nice.
plus my dexterity, keeps it at 20.
All right. So, Gunter with a natural 20. Anybody else with a natural 20? All right, 25 to 20?
22.
22 for Shay. All right. And then we have 2015.
19.
19, okay. For Morwin. And then Heinrich, what about you?
Got 14.
14. Okay. Hey, not bad for the finger gang. Look at that.
Average.
I'm going to go ahead and roll for Kroddick. Kroddick did not get a good roll. But you know what? His modifier still puts him above everybody else. That's great. He rolled a 2, so that puts him at a 7. So, we're going to start with Gunter, then Shay, then Morwin, then Heinrich, then Kroddick, and then they're going to go. At the moment, you can see, yeah, I know. They both rolled natural 3s, both the leader and his men. So, fantastic. I would say, Gunter, you can tell that the human is starting to move as if he is going to be the one to go and fetch Aluktai. But we're going to start with you. What do you want to do?
Okay,
Wait, weren't
so...
they blinded?
He was casting blindness and
He
deafness, right?
cast... Yeah.
Yes.
We
We hadn't gotten to that yet, so if you still want to do that, go ahead.
That is what I'm about to do. Can you just remind me? So there are 2 people sitting in the 2 chairs.
Yep, and
and
there's
then-
one kneeling next to them, and then across the table, perhaps 10 feet away, there stands that dragonborn.
But they're all within 20 feet of each other?
Absolutely.
Perfect. I'm going to blind all 4 of them.
All right, so Gunter, you begin to move your hands, and this incantation begins. What is the DC for that save?
DC is a con save against my
Con. Okay.
wisdom, which is 5 plus 4 plus 8.
Okay.
So 17.
17. Easy. All right, so the human, that's going to be a fail. The dwarf, that is also going to be a fail. The orc, that's a natural 1.
Oh.
I'm going to put that dice off there. And then finally, their leader, that is a 12, which is going to be...
Great. Yeah,
wait. Hang on.
Well, if he's the one that can see, then Gunter's going to attack
They
him.
all fail. So
Great.
Shit.
interesting.
No one gets to see Gunter bald.
So interesting. Of course, that's why you're doing this. So as you round the corner, you can see there is this ripple of divine energy that comes off of Gunter. And as that happens, Gunter, you're aware from the Dragonborn, he's wearing this medallion, and you can't quite make out what's on the medallion. But as your divine energy ripples across them, and their eyes begin to turn, first each vein beginning to swell and then burst as if like an individual bruise just spreads across the white part of their eyes, transitions to like a deep purple. Um, but right as that happens, you can see this medallion seems to almost shine a little bit brighter. And it's as if that seems to, in some ways, help maybe counteract things, although not in this instance. So, yeah, they all seem to go blind. That is your action. Gunter, what else are you doing?
You say, "Don't look at me!" And I guess bonus action, I'm going to throw up some Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay.
So concentration, and I have a +2 to my AC.
Okay, concentration, and you have +2 to AC. Fantastic. So you sort of are you just ducking and covering? That's what you've done before to cast the spell.
Yeah, I'm like, "Don't look at me!"
Okay. And then this arcane field of it just spreads across you, and you feel Cord's presence where you stand. Even here within the pillar of stairs, somewhere under a mountain, you can feel this presence. You moving anywhere? You are currently about 10 feet away from the Dragonborn.
I guess I'll scooch like 5 feet within range so that if someone were to need some sort of advantage or something
Or aid.
a sneak attack, then
Okay. So you move within that range. That brings us to Shay. Morwen, you're on deck.
How far back down the hall am I?
You right now are about 20 feet away from the door, which would put you. I mean, you can't see where they are, so about 20 feet from the door. What do you want to do?
Make my way to the door? Just
Okay.
out of curiosity, because I'm not entirely sure what's going on, other than Gunter walked in and is now yelling.
So you walk to the door, still fairly
par for
quick.
the course.
And reaching the door, you can see Heinrich just kind of passed on the other side. Morwen, another 10 feet beyond that, kind of peeking around where Gunter has extended beyond. You don't see Gunter. But you would hear this, "Don't look at me!" And there is kind of this of divine energy that you have associated with Gunter's actions in the past.
Given that I would only know kind of loosely what's going on and like what's in there, I'm gonna wait.
Okay. So you wait. Are you holding an action or just passing your turn?
In the event that a hostile were to attempt to hit me in any way,
Okay.
I would hit them back.
Do you
or attempt
consider
to disarm
Gunter
them.
hostile?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's moment to moment.
Morwen, you are up. Heinrich, you're next.
All right. I'm gonna go snuck for
Make
what
a
it's
stealth check.
worth.
Sure.
All right, that's a 26.
Okay, so 26. As you kind of feel the energy ripple off of Gunter and are aware of the fact that something's going to happen, you instinctively tuck yourself into the shadows between the floor and the wall. You feel very hidden. What do you want to do?
I'm going to start inching towards the other door.
So you, okay, towards the door that you came from, or the door on the other side of the
On the
corridor?
other side. On the other side.
Okay, I mean, if you want to use your movement, you can get a fair ways through the corridor. I would say, given where you're starting out, 10, 15. I mean, 30 feet will get you to the opposite kind of floating wall. Another 20 feet will get you to the door. So if you dash, or you know what, you went, yeah. What do you want to do?
How much movement did I use to get into this? 10 feet to get into this room?
I mean, you were already in the room, but to get kind of around to the corner. Yeah, you haven't used any movement yet.
Oh, okay. Then I will. I guess I'll just keep scooting around. Like, just give me like 10 feet, like against the wall, like further into the room.
Okay, so you walk just you're walking just about you're diagonal from Gunter right now.
And I'm going to ready to attack if someone attacks my friend.
Okay.
Because I don't know what magic he did, so.
Okay, fair enough.
Seems weird, but we've never seen this one before, so it'd be
Fair
fair
enough.
to assume that we're all just kind of like,
Heinrich, what do you want to do?
I feel like I would just kind of hearing them mention Iluktai. Is the guy currently turning to go fetch him?
You can see, I would say, so right now you can't see them. You would need to move another like 10 feet over to the side to see them. You were kind of like looking through that debris, and then you kind of went back to the other side. So if you want to move 10 feet around or 5 feet in the other direction, you just know that you won't be able to go through there.
Okay. I guess I will kind of round the corner so I can see, I suppose.
Okay. So you move over 10 feet. You can see, you can't see Morwen. She's kind of like a shadow slipping over just over the table and is now on the other side. That overturned table that's being used as a barricade. You do see Gunter kind of cowering a little bit, but you can see these 4 other individuals beginning to reach towards their eyes, which are dark, like a deep purple. You can see like the almost blackened veins kind of within.
Who among them looks the toughest?
At a quick glance, I mean, the orc is the biggest.
Like most, no one strikes me as the most threatening out of any of them, other than just big muscle man, right?
They're all blind. So at the moment,
I know. I'm just saying, like, if you were to take stock of these people in a normal situation,
make a perception check.
Yeah, what would I be like able to pick up on? If, sort of like a threat assessment.
Sure.
That's a 10.
Okay. There's weapons near or on all of them, so they are all dangerous. You would note that the dwarf and the dragonborn are both wearing armor.
Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna try to move, and they seem to be. Is it fairly obvious to me that they're blinded and deafened kind of thing, or is it?
Yeah, I would say you've cast that spell before, I think.
Did he?
They're
No,
only
you have.
I've cast darkness a lot, but not blindness or deafness. So.
I would say that you have a rough
idea. Chances based on what's going on.
We're not stupid.
Moving through.
Like, ah.
Yeah.
Not all
I'm
of
gonna try
you.
to move through and get around the table. So
Okay.
I've moved to get to where that 5 foot square just around the corner is. That's what 10 feet of movement to get there.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. So I'll move basically farther into the room. Just gonna like try to cut off the guy who was gonna go get Iluktai, and instead of an action, just delaying it to cast a spell on the Dragonborn should they look like they are actually able to see and fight.
Okay, so you rush into the room, going by this kind of mesh iron chair, and you slip past this Dragonborn. You now stand on the other side of him, Gunter kind of diagonal to him, and then Morwen 10 feet away from him. You guys forming almost like you guys are surrounding this Dragonborn. You put yourself in a position where if that human were to run in the easiest direction to get to the door, you would be able to cut him off, no problem.
Okay, cool.
And you ready
So
that
want
action.
that reaction to be ready, yeah.
Yep. All right, so it is now Krodik's turn. Krodik is going to come over and catch up with you, Shay. And pausing in the door, you can see he looks into the room, although it's unclear as to what he's looking for. But I would say he turns to you and just says, "What do we do?" And that is his turn. He's going to hold. It is now their turn. So the first will go in dexterity order. So the human is going to move first. That is going to be 5, 10, 15. So now Heinrich, you could see he gets up. Now blindness, give me 1 second here.
I feel like with deafness too, he'd also be really
No, they're only
blind.
blinded.
Oh, it's one of the two conditions.
You pick.
Yeah, it's one or the other. One or the other, not both. Unless I
So-
cast it again.
Heinrich, you watch as this human gets up from his chair, the chair kind of scooting back against the stone, and he begins to run. And as he does, he goes straight into the cooking pot, along with the sort of underheld fire within. Gunter, if you want to roll a d6, he's going to take a little fire damage.
Great.
So, yeah, Gunter, you can roll it if you want.
That's a 3.
Okay. So you watch as he overturns this thing and embers flow over, going into his chest. He's not wearing any armor. He looks exhausted already, and he just begins to like yell and push the embers off. But yeah, that's his turn. The other 3, this dwarf is going to get up. He is also blind. He's just going to stay around. You can see he's like searching for his weapon. He doesn't seem to be able to find it. But you could hear him just calling out, hello? Hello? And he's just like looking around for this thing. The orc is going to be able to go over and turn around and looking at everybody. Heinrich, he's running towards you. He can't see you, but I guess he kind of can hear the clink, clink, clink.
I can smell.
He is going to, he doesn't know that you're there. So actually, Heinrich, interesting point. He's going to run right into you. You are ready to make an attack. If you want to, you can go ahead and make that.
This is the Dragonborn?
This is the orc. So the orc has like gotten up. He scrambled like past the table, and he's now running. He has his axe in his hand. He cannot see you. His eyes are like darting around wildly, out of focus and bruised.
I'm going to tabletop him.
Okay, great. Make it athletics check. Go for it. Yeah. And you know what? Make it at advantage because he can't see you at all. I mean, you're just. Oh, yeah.
16.
16? All right. So as he runs, you drop to your hands and knees, and you feel it does hurt a little bit because of his shin. I mean, he's running full speed. His shin runs right into your side, but the scale mail takes the force of the blow without a problem, and he topples over. He is now prone.
Okay.
However, I'm going to say he can make an attack. It is at disadvantage because he is prone and blind. Unfortunately, unlike 4E, I don't think this or disadvantage does not stack. That is going to be both 17, which is going to give him. All right, so he's not going to attack recklessly because he can't see, and that's a little much. However, as he falls, he swings out with the axe, and that is going to deal 4 slashing damage as he goes. The blade just catching you a little bit on the arm, barely nicking you. As he is still like swinging it around, you could hear the deep sunrest accent as he's just like, and he's just swinging it, hitting nothing.
Sure.
That is his turn.
Hit?
The what?
What was his total to hit?
4 slashing damage.
No,
Or
no,
his total
the,
roll?
Yeah, the attack.
That was going to be a. Just 1 second. 23.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, Isumiwa, thank you so much for subscribing and welcome. So that is going to bring us to this Dragonborn. This Dragonborn is now blind. You can see one hand kind of drifts up and just touches the eye or the area around the eye. And he is going to. Doesn't have any of that prepared. That's rough. Okay. Turning in the direction that he heard Gunter from. I'm going to go ahead and roll a d6 just to make sure that this is fair. And it is. Look at that. He begins to kind of laugh a little bit, and you can hear this. And he breathes in, and you can see just flickers of embers begin to emerge from his mouth, and he is going to breathe fire. Gunter, that is only going to catch you and then a massive swath of the wall to your right. But I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh, jeez. That's a natural 1.
Yeah, so unfortunately, you are going to take... Whoop, lost one of my dice there.
I just got toasted by a
Again.
Dragonborn.
Again.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of fire damage here. That is going to be 14 points of fire damage.
All right, so I lose the temporary hit
The
points.
flame washes over you. Your hair, the little bit that Heinrich was able to secure with his disguise kit, singed away
No.
instantly. You are again bald as the day you were born.
Well, do I still have the illusion up?
Make a
I mean,
concentration.
yeah,
Actually, Gunter. So interesting point. You have concentration right now on.
Oh, that's correct. I have
Go ahead and make
concentration
a
on
concentration
my
check.
AC.
Yeah, make a check.
Constitution.
I think that would
That's
also trigger my attack too, right?
Yes, this will.
that is a 15.
Okay, 15. Yeah, you're fine. 15, no problem. You maintain your concentration even with this fairly insubstantial hit, to be honest. That's his action. He really can't see where he's going. Morwen, go ahead and make your attack of opportunity now if you would like.
Okay. For the pass, it is 23.
23 hits, yeah. Go ahead and roll damage. And that is, so based on where you guys all are, and he's
Sneak
blind,
attack.
so that's a sneak attack, yeah.
Oh.
How long does blindness last, by the way?
Yeah, it's
For a
advantage.
minute.
Roll check it.
Oh, advantage.
And do they make a save at the end of their turn?
Let's see. Yes, they can
Okay.
make at the end of each of its turns. The target
Okay,
can make
so-
a con save throw.
And that's a 17, right?
Yes.
Okay. Real quick. The orc is no longer blind. So Heinrich, you can see on the ground the eyes suddenly, the blood seems to draw into the veins, and he seems to be able to see. Everybody else is still blind. So yeah, Mormon, definitely a sneak attack. Go ahead and roll damage for that.
Okay. So that's 8. Oh god, hold on. I think I roll 6 for this.
You roll a lot. Yeah,
Okay, so
I think 11 goes up to 6.
10, 14, 18, 19, 20.
Okay. So you spring from the shadows with your rapier and slide it through. It hits the scales and you feel it penetrate, although it seems to glance off of the scaly nature of his physical form, but it does do damage. And you want to attack with butts?
Yep.
Go
Always.
ahead. Always butts.
Critical fail.
Still at advantage though.
Is it still at advantage?
Yeah, it's still an advantage. You don't get sneak attack damage twice, but you still have advantage.
Oh. 12.
So you swing and it does hit, but as it hits the scales, it just slides off and you don't feel it penetrate or do any damage. Anything else you want to, or no, that was your reaction.
Mhm.
So at the
Can I
end
not
of
back
his
up
turn,
back into my spot?
you can't move as part of your reaction. You get an attack. He's going to make his save, and he is not. So he is still blind, and you can see, like, as he moves in, he's just kind of like holding the sword and kind of his face darting around, not able to see anything. That brings us back up to Gunter. Shay, you're on deck.
Closer to me
frozen.
now.
Oh no.
You froze there for a second, Matt. What?
Orc.
The closest one to you is the
Closest-
Dragonborn.
So I'm gonna throw some guiding.
Okay,
Actually,
go
no. I'm going to actually use one of my aids to help. I'm going to use the help action for Heinrich, I believe.
ahead. Okay, how are you going to help Heinrich?
Is Heinrich the closest to me?
Morwen's the closest to you.
Oh, then I will help Morwin.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, I guess, keep their attention focused on me by making some more noise. You know, like,
So old man Gunter noises begin to burst out, and you utilize your help action.
and then bonus action, I'm gonna smack the orc on the ground.
Right, solidarity clerics, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead and make your attack. To do the orc on the ground, point of fact, you'll need to move 10 feet, which I'm going to say
is
it's
it
not.
the half orc who's next to me?
No, it is the dragonborn that's next to you. The
Oh.
The orc is down.
I'll smack
at,
the Dragonborn because he just hit me with the fire.
Sure, go ahead. And you have advantage, actually, because he is blind.
Great. That's 18. That's a 19.
19 just hits. Go ahead and roll
Okay.
damage on that.
All right. D. That's 11 plus 6. No.
Okay.
Uh,
You tell me.
yeah.
11 plus 6? Okay, so 17. Okay, so you take the axe, and as you make your kind of, you swing wildly with the axe, hitting for a pretty good amount of damage. He's blind, and so you actually manage to get underneath the pauldrons that kind of go over his shoulders, and you feel it sink into the scales themselves. You pull it away, and there is this kind of burst of blood that seems to emerge. It hurts him. He doesn't seem especially phased by it. He's mostly concentrated on the fact that he's blind. Anything else? You want to move anywhere?
No, I think I'm good there.
All right, Shay, you're up. More when you're on deck. Shay, you can hear the sounds of battle and these people kind of yelling that they can't see. You hear Gunter make a Gunter noise, and then the sound of metal sinking into something. What do you want to do?
I can't see anybody from where I am, right?
You cannot. No.
I'm gonna move up to where I can see.
Okay, so it's 15 feet. You move around. You can now, still touching the wall, see directly in front of you, maybe 5 feet away, Gunter. Next to him, Morwen, and then in front of the two of them, you see the Dragonborn. Beyond them, by about 10 feet, you can see Heinrich. There is an orc at his feet that seems to be looking up at him. And then off to the side from all of them, there is a dwarf who is just kind of stumbling around, and a human who is just fire all over him. He's like, there's a pot that seems to be rolling away, this brownish stew now flooded across the stone floor. It smells pretty good, actually, but aside from that, yeah, he's got embers all over his chest.
I'm gonna kind of roll my eyes, and then I'm gonna go over and help Heinrich with the work.
Okay. Yep, no problem. You tuck in. You want to be next to Heinrich?
Sure.
Okay, so you next to Heinrich, you are now you form one person to the north of him and one person to the east of him. What do you want to do? He's on the ground. He's prone.
Guess I'm gonna kick him.
Okay, go ahead and make your attack.
Kick Heinrich?
Just kick my.
I'm not even imagining like a monk kick. You just kind of walk over and just like you're kicking a pebble, you just kind of.
Yeah.
That is
The Luigi
a
taunt.
25.
25 hits. Yeah, roll damage on that.
8.
Okay. So you walk up to this orc. You can see you bring in and pull in the scene around you, and then very quickly move your way over the table, not even touching your feet. Don't make a noise as you land. You walk up to this orc who's like looking up at Heinrich, and you can see this grin begin to spread across his face, the tusks beginning to emerge. You see he points his axe at Heinrich, and he's beginning to speak. And you just kick him in the ribs. You can see he's as he's beginning to talk, he's just and just like the air driven from his lungs. His monologue now cut very short.
Great, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, okay. He's holding his ribs and he's pointing the axe again, and then Shay just comes in.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, that hits as well. Go ahead and roll damage.
It's just like, damn it, I've been practicing this speech.
7.
7. Okay, that brings it to. He begins to try to speak again, and as he does, you pull your leg back and you snap it into him. You feel something give way, not a bone, maybe an organ, something ruptures within him, and he's looking pretty rough.
Great.
He's on the ground.
He gets
Third one?
another.
He gets another.
Monks.
That is a 23.
23 hits. Roll damage. I don't know if he's gonna make it.
It's an 8.
An 8. That brings us to. Let me just double check what his health was. Okay, so the final kick, you didn't feel anything break before, but now you do. Ribs give way, and you imagine they seem to kind of puncture the lung, because with that last one, as he begins to speak again, there's this kind of and this almost rasping sensation that's now coming with rapid breaths. He's looking real rough. Anything else?
Sucks to
No.
suck.
Jay?
That's it. We're good.
All right. Morwen, you're up. Heinrich, you're on deck.
Alright, I'm going to attack the Dragonborn again.
All right, make your attacks.
However, if I am the one that kills him, I want to not kill him. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
so non-lethal damage is what we're specifying.
if
you're
I'm the
remembering-
one to be the final blow.
You're doing
Okay.
the non-lethal damage if you hit him. Yeah.
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 So you're remembering Gunter curb stomping your first ever interrogation person to death. before
Not
you
on
even ask any
purpose.
questions.
We're also here to look for someone, and if he also does know Uluktai, I don't necessarily want to kill Uluktai's friend.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay.
So,
Non-lethal damage.
Maybe
No
they're
worries.
brothers. They look the same. No, I don't know.
The
Just
Dragonborn?
kidding.
Not all
Well,
works.
actually look alike to her.
Oh wait, so
He's still blind, right?
Yeah, it's advantage. You're getting
and
your sneak
also you're
attack.
still and Gunter's still near me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because he's blind, so you're rolling an advantage, so you got sneak attack.
And I helped you too, which would have
Right.
given you the
Even
gained
more
it.
advantage.
I have all the
extra
advantages.
advantage.
Roll 2 dice, but roll them harder.
That's a dirty 20.
Nice. Yeah, that hits.
Roll harder.
It was almost as hard as that one could go.
All right, so that was 11, 13, 14, 17, 22.
Oh, this guy's gonna be
27.
dead. This guy's gonna be dead.
Okay. So you lash out, this time with the rapier, and he's already blind, kind of looking around. Damage is coming in from multiple directions, and all of a sudden you just sneak it right into his back, like the small of his back. It pierces through the scales, and you pull it away. Blood again, kind of pulsing out.
Gross.
Still not, doesn't seem too bad. What are you doing? You following up with butts?
Yep.
All right, go ahead and roll attack.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You lash out with the sword, and you make connection. Go ahead and roll damage.
6.
Okay. After the first puncture, you pull back, and the sword, you kind of go for the same spot, but unfortunately, the short sword, the sort of edged blade, not able to follow through in the mark made by your rapier. Still doing a little bit of damage. Anything else?
Gonna back up a little bit just so I'm out of arm's reach. of
Okay.
him.
You back up about 5 feet. That is your turn. Heinrich, you are up. Krodok is on deck.
Cool. Is it possible to non-lethal with Eldritch Blast?
You have no idea.
Okay, I'm attempting that.
Okay,
On the
good.
orc.
Okay.
So one beam at the orc non-lethal, and then one. I guess both non-lethal. Fuck it. At the Dragonborn.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead and roll your attacks.
And with
Do the
the-
orc first, and then the dragonborn.
Cool. Is because he's prone, do I have advantage on that shot?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Boink. Good. Much better. 27 on the orc.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah, I thought so.
What is
So
the
that-
modifier for that damage? It's plus.
It's plus. Sorry. Oh, oops. It's plus 5.
Plus 5. Don't roll for damage. The first
Okay.
bolt of Eldritch Blast, as you hold your hand out, these
Also with the
small.
push 10 feet thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Spin across
Hang
the
on.
floor.
Hang on. That might change things.
Well, it's
You
for both of them trying to knock him back 10 feet from my position.
you hold your hand out, and these small glyphs spin into reality. Bits of magic seeming to almost coalesce around your fingers, and this bolt leaps out, striking the already prone orc. As he's like already holding his side, something broken deep within, and it strikes him full in the chest. And you watch as he scrapes across the stone into the far wall and just kind of and slumps over. I mean, he's out of combat. Let's put it that way.
Good. Hopefully just unconscious. And then the other one, the Dragonborn,
Sure.
gonna be the same thing, advantage and then
Yep.
that.
Yep.
And I can use. Okay. Fucking crit
Okay. Yeah.
Non-lethal hit.
on a non-lethal, so that's
Natural
2
20. Okay.
plus 5.
Yeah, just-
pushing 10 feet and non-lethal.
Yep. And double your dice roll
Add
before you.
more things. All right, so the first roll is 9, so that's 18 plus 5 is 23. Non-lethal.
23 points of non-lethal.
He lost
Force
my
damage.
key points there.
Yeah, so you twist your hand around, seeing this orc clearly out, and the second blast erupts. You can see it strikes this dragonborn. Does he get a save against being pushed 10 feet?
Nope.
Okay, so he's pushed 10
10
feet, and you can see elements of the scales actually curling from the force of the impact. No longer straight, actually like bent around where it hit. And as he scrapes across the stone, I would say he actually gets pushed into the human. Not enough to knock him over, but they're now like back to back. Anything else?
I feel like I would move to. Hold on, I need to look at the map again.
They're still blinded, right?
The orc was the only one that got out of it. So yeah, all of the active combatants are blind.
All right, I'm gonna move around to. Is that another like layer of barricading kind of to the left side of the room?
To the left side of the room?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
you
from
can
where
see there are two tables, or sorry, a table that's been overturned and a
Mhm.
bookcase that's been overturned. There's actually a few books at the base of it. There seems to be like two stools and chairs turned back to back. But yeah, it seems like a makeshift barricade.
Yeah, I'll get behind that then and move towards the as far as I can get to the leftmost side. To like basically, if he tries to surmise from where my position was just now, I'll be on the opposite side of the room.
Okay, sure, no problem. You make your way over. You go around. You can see there's like little bits of board and actually tools. This is very much like an initial attempt to barricade the area. But yeah, no problem. You get over there. That is your turn. Krodik enters the room, going around to where you are, Gunter, and he's going to take up a position next to you, between you and Morwen. He's going to turn and look at you, Morwen, for a second, and then turn and look down at you, Gunter, and say, "Gunter, are you okay?"
Don't look at me!
He's going to ready an action. That is his turn, because he doesn't really know what's going on. It is the bandit's turn. So they're still blind. The dwarf is going to move. He stumbles, Heinrich, about 10 feet in front of you, and then sort of puts his hands out and catches the wall. He's going to turn, and he begins to run. He's going to run directly into you. So go ahead. What do you want to do? You
I mean, can I
reaction.
tabletop a dwarf? Can I trip him?
You can.
Can I like
certainly
press
try.
up against the wall and put my leg out?
Trip him with
Yeah.
the
So
tail.
go ahead and make an athletics check.
Okay.
Just hug him.
At advantage because he's blind.
It's not at advantage, but
That's fine. Ooh, that's nice. 17.
17. He rolled with his modifiers a 16. So you stick your foot out, and you can see as he goes over, just the edge of his boot snags onto the edge of yours, and he goes toppling over and is now prone on the other side of you. I mean, he's going to try. He's going to try to swing at you. He's going to swing at you. At disadvantage, that is going to be a 15 plus. That is going to be a 21.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So as he falls, he takes another swing. And that, it actually hits you pretty good as he goes down. That's going to be 11 points of slashing damage. But he is now prone on the ground.
That he gets a hellish rebuke then.
Oh, okay, go ahead and roll for that.
A
That's
non-lethal.
brutal.
A non-lethal burning to death.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's probably not
No,
one
I
you
can't
can do
control that.
non-lethally.
It's
You can do
also
a
like
non-lethal fireball.
I've canonically only used it when I'm like, fuck you. Like, so it would be lethal. All right, so. Ugh. Only 9.
Okay.
9.
So with
okay.
that-
I rolled a 1, a 2, and a 1. So like, fuck me.
As he falls, he lashes out and it cuts you deep, and you feel this anger burn up within you, an anger from beyond just yourself, but from your lineage. and you redirect some of that pain back to him, only some. But
Yeah.
you watch as there is this kind of spark, and he grunts out, blind, unable to see what's going on. The human, for his part, is going to spin in kind of a wide circle, and he's going to run right up to where you are, Shay, although he cannot go further. The Dragonborn. The Dragonborn, you can watch. So he takes his hand, the scaled hand that is not holding a shield. The shield's still down and on the table itself next to him. And he puts it around the medallion at his chest. And you watch as all of a sudden the medallion seems to pulsate a little bit of light that spreads into the scales. The scales glow almost pink from within and seem to spread across the body. And you see the eyes all of a sudden glow with the same pink energy and then clear into the same gold that you saw initially. He does not appear to be blinded anymore.
Was that a spell or is that something with the medallion? Because I have something I might do if it was a spell.
You would not have any idea. What do you want to try to do?
Then fuck it. It's fine. I probably wouldn't be focusing on that anyways.
Sure. He's going to turn and then I would say take the scimitar and then level it towards you, Gunter. Kind of ignoring Morin for the moment because he didn't see her enter. And he is going to, that's all that he can do for the moment. He's going to ready something. That is his turn. That is going to bring us to the top of the order. Gunter, give me just one sec. The dwarf is going to remain blind, and the human is also going to remain blind. Gunter, what do you want to do? Shay, you're on deck.
How bad is the Dragonborn looking?
He's breathing a little bit harder. You can see that there are kind of breaks in his scales. He's looking hurt, but definitely not near the end of his rope, so to speak.
Okay, but he's still blinded too, right?
He is not. You can see now his eyes, which were
right, yeah.
bruised, now they're gold and back to how they were.
Right. Okay. Did I notice that this person has leveled their scimitar toward me?
I would imagine, yeah.
Right. Guiding bolt. I'm gonna be like, "Don't look at me!" Guiding bolt.
Sure. So you hold your hand out, and there is this kind of thunder that roams through the mountain itself and into the pillar of stairs. Go ahead and roll your attack.
That's 24.
Yeah, that hits. Go ahead and roll all of your d6s.
All right.
What is that, like 5d6 now?
It's 4d6 radiant damage, and on the next attack roll, advantage for whoever takes the attack.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Oh, also, yeah, he's glowing a little bit, I guess. No. Yeah. Dim mystical light glowing on the guy if I hit.
I'll let you know.
So that's 13 plus 5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that, you hold your hand out, you shriek, "Don't look at me!" And there is this of radiant energy that leaps across the room. For a brief second, the entire room is brilliantly lit. Shadows starkly cast across the walls. And then it slams into him, and you can see as it like pushes him almost back into the stone, all of a sudden his scales radiate this inner light, and he's casting, it's almost like a red lava lamp that's just within the space, casting just shifting colors. But he is glowing. He looks fairly hurt. He's looking pretty rough now. Anything else?
I guess that's it. I already have my bonus action up. Yeah, we're good with that.
Okay. Shay, what do you want to do?
Is the human like right in my face, or?
Yeah, he's right next to you, and you can imagine next turn he's going to try to stumble by.
Great. Can I just help him and like put him down on top of the dwarf?
The dwarf is kind of across the room. You could
Great, just
try to
straight
throw
down.
him.
Just straight down.
Sure, go ahead, make your attack roll.
She was trying to be nice and cushion the landing.
I was.
That
That is a 26.
26. Okay. So you grab onto the elements of kind of, it's like a torn, almost animal pelt that goes around, very like barbarian style. Although this gentleman, not a barbarian. He's kind of scrawny, got a little bit of a paunch, and you can see it looks like he probably hasn't slept very well in a very long time. But you take him by that skin and slam him into the stone. Go ahead and roll damage for that.
7.
Okay. He kind of gets up on one arm and begins peeling himself back up as you like slam him on. What do you want to do?
No, he's getting a foot.
Okay, make your attack roll.
I can't math. 27.
27 hits. Roll for damage.
I thought that was the
9.
kick, and I was like, damn, that's
So he
wrong.
begins to kind of climb up, and you like slam into his knee as he's like getting up, and the whole body like spreads across the floor, smacking against the stone. He begins trying to crawl back up again. At this point, you can see there are like tears of frustration, his eyes still clouded over and blackened.
Great, he gets another one. And for
Yeah, go ahead.
giggles, go ahead and make a con save. DC 16.
Oh no. Well, make your attack first. I mean, you got to hit it.
Kill him
I mean,
out.
that's fair. How's a dirty 20?
Yeah, that hits. All right, for a con save, that is going to be a 12.
Yeah, he's stunned.
So, how much damage does it do, actually, first of all?
5.
Okay, so as he finally begins crawling up, you can see he gets all of his weight up on his right arm, and you swing in with your foot, and his elbow just chicken legs in the wrong direction. You feel the bones snap as his arm folds almost in two, and he crumbles down. He begins calling out in pain, but that first call like almost chokes in his throat as his whole body tenses up and locks. He is now prone on the ground, just unmoving, kind of trembling a little bit. I mean, he's pretty hurt. He's looking like real rough. Anything else, Shay?
No, that's it.
All right, Morwen, you're up. Heinrich, you're on deck. Morwen, you just watched Shay slam this like this homeless looking dude into the ground, break his arm, and then like hit him one more time, and his whole body just locks up. You can see this dragonborn looking rough, breathing heavy, the sword actually like pointed at the ground now. The effort of it keeping it upright in a guard position too much. Is one hand kind of now releasing the medallion, just held out in front of him. What do you want to do?
Non-lethal smack the dragonborn.
Okay, go ahead and roll your attack.
Or it's not smack, but poke.
Sure.
Okay, that would be a 26.
26 hits. And this is so I'm going to say if you're going for non-lethal, you're not going to get sneak attack damage.
Fair.
Okay,
that's fair.
so yeah, just roll normal damage.
7.
7. Okay, so you go up to him, crossing the distance easily, leaving Croddock slightly behind you, and you slide this blade, or you know what, you take the blade and you turn it to the flat and just smack him in the face. It reverberates in this small room. The glow across the scales suddenly fades, but he's still standing. You can see it does kind of seem to shock him. The golden eyes lose focus for a second. He's looking pretty rough. Anything else?
Where's Gia?
Okay, that's what you say? Where's Gia?
Yeah.
Cool.
Isn't that her name?
I don't know.
Maybe. So you say where's Gia? That is your turn. Heinrich, what do you want to do?
This dwarf's prone and blind. Is there a way that I could get to the other side of him so that when I skid him across the floor, it's not to the exit of the room?
I mean, yeah, you could jump over him if you want. You could try to.
Yeah, could I just step around him?
Yeah, why not?
Do
You
like
can
a
just kind of step
quick,
over him.
like-
He's a dwarf. He's kind of small.
Yeah, quick 15 feet diagonal and then back diagonal movement.
Yeah, no problem. You move around him, we'll say, without too much trouble, and you get to the other side. So if you were to hit him, he'll go back towards the door that you came from.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do first bolt at him, and can I see the Dragonborn from where I am, or is that
Yes, you can.
okay? 1 and 1, just like last time.
Go ahead, roll the first one. This is on the dwarf. This is at advantage.
Non-lethal.
Okay, non-lethal.
Okay, that is 23.
Yeah, that hits. Go ahead and roll your damage.
And because of the radiance, I'm not going to add the modifier to this one. So that's just 6.
Okay. So this
Pushed
kind of
in.
pulls into him, and you can see he pushes, just slides 10 feet along the floor. The metal, because he's the only one wearing metal armor, it kind of like scrapes along in this very uncomfortable sound. But yeah, he moves.
Okay, and then the Dragonborn for a 24.
24 hits. Roll for damage. This is non-lethal as well.
Correct. So that one is, that would be 7 as well.
7 damage.
Yeah, I'm not going to push him because I feel like if I was at this angle, I'd push him into Gunter. Is that correct?
You'd push him into the wall.
Oh, well then I'll push him into the wall and see if that does anything. 10
Sure,
feet.
go ahead.
By
Go
a
ahead and-
wall.
Go ahead and roll 1d6 of force damage.
Wonderful. 2.
So you watch as this dragon, but you see Morwin just say, "Where's Gia?" And you watch as the dragon lowers a little bit, and he turns his head. Who is Gia? And then it hits him, and he slams his head into the wall as he shifts 10 feet and falls unconscious. Because you had 107 damage and he had 110 health, and you slammed him into the wall.
All right.
30 damage. So you did exactly enough. He is now unconscious. The only one remaining on his back now, like in the middle of the room, is this dwarf. You can see with the axe just swinging around wildly, unable to see anything. I'm going to say for our purposes at the moment, you guys are out of combat because he's just blind and on his back. I would say, what do you guys want to do? At the moment, this dwarf swinging wildly around. There's an unconscious dragonborn. There's an unconscious human. And there is very much a dead orc.
Damn it.
Can
Can I
I'm gonna
spare
shout
the
at
die?
I
I am.
didn't kill him, did I?
The orc?
Yeah.
No, well,
I got him,
You-
bolted him, but did that
Oh, I-
didn't kill him,
No,
did
he
it?
did the battle.
I was doing that all to the orc. You were doing the
Fine.
Dragonborn.
To be fair, I think I
bygones are
killed the
bygones. I'm
orc,
not going to
but-
bother spare the dying him. I just don't want to piss off Iluktai, but meh.
I'm looting the bodies.
Moment where he almost feels himself coming back, and then he's just dead.
Okay.
I'm gonna shout at the dwarf to chill the fuck out. Everyone's dead. We won't kill you. Just chill the fuck out.
There you
Make an
go.
intimidation check.
I'm gonna go loot the.
Blind and has no idea what's going on. He's been hit and then shoved really far.
Poor
He's
dude.
probably pretty frightened.
Alright, so 21.
21. So you see from this kind of and then all of a sudden his hand just opens and the axe clang 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 onto the ground, and you can just see his hands go up. So now he's just kind of like on his back, sprawled out on the floor. But he calls out from the floor, "All right, now I surrender."
All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to tie him up as per usual.
Okay.
I'm gonna loot all the
Inches
friends.
away as you like go to tie him up. At this point, the blindness fades, and you can see as he ties you up, he looks up at you, a little bit of surprise. But as you're tying him up, he just says, "What are you going to do with me?"
Don't know yet. What were you guys going to do with us?
"We had no idea that you were here.
Huh.
We're a forward scouting party."
For who?
Now he's still on his back, and you've tied his hands up, and he just sort of says, "Could you just sit me up?"
Yeah. And I drag him over to the, I guess, wall. And
You
just
haul him up and kind of against the wall.
I give him some of his floor stew in a bowl.
So as you're doing this, Morwen takes one of the bowls discarded on the ground and just with her paw pushes some soup in, and you hands it over. His
It's
hand still
mostly dirt now.
kind of looks down. There's like little floating cat hairs in it. I, I
You're
can't-
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's a strange one. A scouting party for who?
For Kindscale, for the dragon.
So you're working for her.
Everybody works for her. It's not much of a choice. Heinrich, being this close, you now get just a little bit of a scent, actually. Aside from just the body odor and kind of grease. They've maybe been down here for a little bit, but there is this faint kind of smell. Give me just 1 second. There is the faint smell of kind of a loamy earth, almost like wet grass, but a little bit deeper, almost petrichor.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Where did you guys come from? Further back this way? And I point towards the door. Not the one that we came from.
Just now, we came from up above. There's another 2 floors, although the next one is dangerous. And then we have a staging area. It is led by a half-orc named Aluktai. He works for Kindscale, but he does it by choice.
I just laugh and I'm like, of course he does. Of course he does. Morwen, you had questions for him
Why
about
is it
some...
funny to you? He is
Don't
a
worry
good warrior.
about
We know.
We used to run with him for a brief moment.
He sort of looks up. How?
In the way that we just handled you guys.
He sort of looks around at his comrades who are scattered throughout.
This was
While this is
months ago.
happening, what are the rest of you guys doing?
I'm looting the bodies. Woo!
All right. Yep. There you go.
Morwen, what are you doing?
I think
Starting
I'm
with
gonna.
that dead.
I
Okay,
think
with the
I
orc.
want the Dragonborn's medallion if Gunter doesn't get to it first.
Okay, so Gunter is going to start looting the orc. You are going to start looting the dragonborn. Shay, what are you doing?
Can I check and see if any, besides the orc, if they're still alive, and if so, can I start working on like tying them up so that when they do
Yeah,
come around?
Make a medicine check.
That's a 13.
Yeah, 13. Okay, so looking at first the human, you can see there are shallow breaths being drawn in. He's probably alive, definitely unconscious. And then looking over at the dragonborn, given how large he is, you can see very easily the scales kind of shifting as he still draws breath. They're both unconscious.
Great. I'm gonna work on tying them up so that way
Okay.
when they do come to.
Sure, you take some time and you do so. Krata catches on and kind of helps. So he does one, you do the other. Meanwhile, Gunter, go ahead and make an investigation check. You walk over to the downed half orc, or orc rather.
Oh, natural 20.
Okay. You find a number of things.
Ah!
Piece in his butt.
You find
Check everywhere.
Full cavity.
you even go so far as to look into his prison wallet, and you find kind of by him there is that axe that he had. It seems to be a pretty normal axe, sort of a lighter wood on the haft of it. You can see that there is tucked kind of on his back, although part of it seems to be damaged. There's a heavy crossbow. You also find 4 gold, 1 piece of silver, and 10 piece of copper. And that's it.
4 gold, 1 silver, 10 copper. I'm taking it all.
All right, you do that.
And I'm moving on to the next body.
All right, Morwen, you go ahead and make an investigation check.
I'm gonna go over to Shay and Krodic's bodies and be like, you guys done there? And then scooch them over to start rifling through
I'm
their
not
stuff.
letting Gunter scooch me out of the way.
All right, so Gunter, you approach the human and a very stoic-looking Shay. We're going to get back to that in a second. Allie, you rolled a 19?
18.
18, okay. You begin to go through, and you can see this Dragonborn is still alive. But you want to go ahead and you want to take the medallion. You reach around and pull it off. Heavier than you would expect, about this large. And looking at it, it features what looks like a 3-headed dragon, with 1 dragon pointed forwards and 1 off to either side. You also find a couple of other things. Touching this armor as you're going through, there is something about it that's very strange. It's very clean armor, and you can see the areas where it was hit don't appear damaged in any permanent way. You see, he does have a scimitar. He does have what looks like a small, like twisted, closed leather pouch, and jingling it, you could hear some coins. Um,
Oh, I take
yeah,
those.
okay. You can add 22 gold, 10 silver, and 15 copper to your inventory. He also has around his waist 20 feet of rope, and strapped sort of to the back left side of his belt, there is a pair of manacles, like handcuffs.
I take those.
Alrighty, you can add those to your inventory. While this is happening, Heinrich, what are you doing?
I feel like I would still be talking to this guy.
Sure.
I would seat him down.
Okay, he's now
and
kind of seated. There's like soup at his.
Yeah, I want to like sort of interrogate him while I'm walking around and just like piling all the weapons together in the middle so that
Okay,
unforeseen events.
sure.
But so how long have you known Iluktai? How long has he been down here?
The half orc, not long. The dragonborn, he kind of motions over. He was our leader first. When we came here, Aluktai was put in charge of us.
Okay. So what's your former leader doing at the scouting party?
We've been in business in the north for quite some time, but between Uriel's watch and the Xinyi, it's become pretty hard to make any kind of living doing dishonest work, admittedly.
Glad to hear it.
Scale, well, like most others in our line of work, when Kindscale called, we answered. There is no refusing her. And if you work for her like we did, you can gain a semblance of relief from what she does.
And what is it exactly that she does?
You haven't had the nightmares?
No, I've been fortunate enough to not.
You
I've
will.
heard descriptions of them. Okay, I chuckle at that one again too.
But
well,
if you
what is
were
her goal
to...
down here?
Sorry, what was that?
What is her goal down here? Just amass people and have them send scouting parties to get their asses handed to them?
Kindscale has sent scouting parties throughout Kulturam. This is one of many.
Right. What is her goal?
That I could not tell you. But what she has been doing is slowly and steadily expanding her grasp of Kulturam. She possesses most of the Circle of Gold, most of the Circle of Silver. There are still strong battles being fought on the Circle of Copper. The Circle of Iron is hers, and the Circle of Stone as well. But there are patches of resistance.
And how far ahead is Iluktai?
He is in the floor above.
Okay. I guess that's good enough.
That is the top of the stairs.
Right.
Beyond
And one
that,
more,
is
and we
Kulturam.
enter into the city. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Information. What lies ahead for us?
The
More
next
camp
room.
traps, things like that.
Listen. Kindscale is not going to forgive this. And she will know what I've done because she, after 2 days from now, will be able to access my mind again.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you intend to do with me and the rest of our group?
At the moment, not quite sure. We just kind of.
Kill 'em all! I say from afar.
Okay.
Well, if it's
Because
the
he
most immediate
smirks for a
threat
second.
to us, I don't know. I mean, I might just step back and let nature, aka Gunter, take its course. If it means ensuring a little bit more time on our side.
And then he sort of draws back stoically and says, "Then I do not know what lies ahead for you."
That's fine. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Okay. He still seems nervous, but he's not saying anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the intimidating mood yet. I
Okay.
might turn around later if Morwen wants to
Oh, I'm
give me
absolutely.
the good cop, bad
you're
cop
being
routine.
totally- You're just making friends.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm doing good cop, bad cop. I'm gonna let you do your thing.
Sure.
All right. Ooh,
Okay.
Eventually, I want to check out that armor too, but that's later.
Okay.
so I'm gonna approach the dwarf, and we're looking for another dwarf. A cold rot dwarf named Gia or Gia or Gaia.
Gia, I think. is what you wrote.
Fancy dwarf. You seen her?
He sort of nods his head, his hand's still bound. Not Gia. Helia Cold Rot. Yes, we ran into her. She is above.
What's she doing up there? She's still alive?
She's in a similar predicament to me. He looks down at his chains.
Who's holding her captive?
Looks over at Heinrich and kind of looks back at his chains. If I'm just to be tortured here by the bald dwarf, then I don't have any reason to answer your questions.
If you would help us save her, get her out of here, and come back, we could keep you alive. I won't kill you. I could try to keep you alive if you'll help us out.
Make an intimidation or persuasion check, your choice, and tell me which, because
I'm not trying to intimidate him. I'm trying
Okay.
to actually want to kill him.
okay. It's hard to tell.
The best.
Oh, poo. 11.
He's motivated, so he looks up at you and kind of looks around at his situation.
I'm rifling through his friend's stuff.
Yeah, I know. You've already taken some of his other friends' stuff.
He looks over.
He's just throwing things.
Yeah.
What is it that you want to know? I'll do what I can to help and trust that you will set at least me free.
I want to know how to safely retrieve Helia. I want to go get her and bring her back downstairs. But then, I want easy passage for when we come back up after.
I mean, I can't really stop you. And he holds up his hands. I can't help you with what's above, but I can tell you what to expect. And then will you set me free?
Couldn't hurt your chances.
If you do set me free, what can I expect below?
We're not going to say.
Do you say that?
No, I'm not near enough.
You're like thinking that as you okay.
I'm like no one can live. They've seen me.
You guys might want to take note of that as well. Just saying.
Gunter's warpath because he's now bald. I feel like I would pipe up and just be like, well, if you've never been farther down than this room, and we bested you here so easily, I mean, you could try, but your life would be in your own hands at that point.
They don't dream
All the-
below.
Who's they?
Anyone.
We thought there were sewers below.
Those that have escaped this upper city have gathered in the under.
Well, now we have to kill him.
No, I say that No, I think he
Go there.
helps us go get Helia, and we'll bring him
Explain
back
that you are
down.
fleeing. They will
How
take
am
you.
I supposed to get Helia?
No. Let him go.
He's gonna communicate with Kindscale. And
You
then-
I'll
said
take
they
them
don't
to
know
the base
where-
of the stairs.
You said they don't dream below.
They don't.
Then she won't be able to find me.
Exactly.
You said
Uh-huh.
there's refugees or people who have escaped.
Yes.
Then that is where I could go.
Yes.
But
You're looking
whatever's
to get out.
there, everybody's looking to get out.
Oh, well, shit. We didn't have to kill any of y'all. You should have just said so. Yeah, go on downstairs.
You can see his eyes wander over to the corpse of his friend on the ground.
You made the impression that you chose to come and serve her, and now you're saying that you don't want to. I'm a little confused.
How long have you been down here? How long have you been away from Kulturan?
Away.
Kindscale has invaded our dreams. She can look into your mind and knows what you fear. She controls the food. She gives it to those who serve her. She controls access to the balm that can stave off the nightmares. And she only releases it to those who serve, like us, every week. So without access to that, the dreams return.
Seems like good motivation to be telling the truth in this instance. Can I actually insight and make sure that he is?
Make an insight check. Yeah, go ahead.
Natural 20, 25.
Yeah. Looking at him, I mean, there's an earnestness to his face. But also now that you kind of are looking in and trying to figure out motivations, you do notice there is that kind of loamy smell. And you're now noticing that there are these kind of on the temples of his head, or like kind of right here. I don't actually know what this is called, but right here,
Temple.
you can see that there are these kind of dark smudges almost, kind of clear, almost like a hair gel, but there is this kind of gritty brown texture. And you remember him talking about this balm
Yep.
that removes nightmares. And so matching that up, I mean, it seems like everything that he's saying is truthful.
Okay. All right. I mean, down is safer than what you're describing above, that's for sure. If nothing else.
I would recommend that you turn around as well. Above, beyond just us, there are over a dozen and a Luktai, and as you know, he is a good warrior.
Right.
And they have sent for traps from the Mudtown Alchemist Association. There is a lot of danger above.
Noted. Thank you.
And if you are looking for Helia, she is under guard. It is not a simple thing to find.
Well, where exactly? You say not simple to find. Is it not just a simple cell? Is it behind a concealed door or something like that?
Nothing concealed, but we have begun to stage supplies. It's a crowded room, though large.
Hmm.
But she is guarded. There will be at least one there, probably two. And when you do get to the top of the stairs, there will be guards there as well.
Of course.
The next room, and you can see now he's like kind of slowly holding his hands up too. He's like,
Yeah,
"The
yeah.
next room," like
I'm
kind of-
looking down at them and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, but keep going.
the next room does have protection, but there is an easy way around. Oh man, you're gonna get this too. 1 second, let me find it because there's a phrase on the other side
You
of the
ready?
next door. Just 1 second here. You can say the phrase "justad," which is draconic for slavery. Sort of, and he gestures over to the Dragonborn, Raunar's idea of a joke, dark as it may be.
Hmm.
Speak that, and the trap will be disabled.
And this is just around the corner.
Just beyond the other door. And he kind of gestures his head to the door beyond, or to the other side of the one that you had come through. So the opposite side of the hall.
All right.
Speaking of your friend over there,
Well, I have an idea, and I don't know if all of you would agree with me on this one.
Well, Norman,
If
are you still saying?
Camelot- What's up?
I think Morwen is trying to say something to this
Uh,
dwarf.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask him. Speaking of your friend, where do their allegiances lie? Would they follow you?
They would follow him.
Ah,
He gestures to Raunar and says they would follow him. If he said that we could get away, we would all go. He is our leader before all of this. Although, and he seems to kind of reconsider, he is in ways a bit of a fanatic, and I think he believes that this dragon who has arrived is the herald of something greater. Perhaps he would not be so keen on changing sides.
He was the one last session that you said the deeper voice he was talking about.
no, he didn't say anything.
He did.
Dragonborn didn't.
The Dragonborn had stated that. Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
I just remember him talking about it.
Oh, no, wait, I'm the one who heard.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because you were sneaking. Yeah, I wasn't there. Yeah.
Make an intelligence check.
Intelligence 19. I'm smart.
Oh, look at you. Okay. Morwen, your eyes dilate as you think back, and you remember hearing the 19. You remember the Dragonborn saying, "We've traversed these dark halls, dogged from the get-go by the damned souls entombed within the bricks of this sewer. What fresh horrors await beneath?" And then you remember, you remember the whole conversation with the 19. What you would remember that's most important, though, is that Raunar, this Dragonborn, had said that Fazarak will rise once more, and the light from the three-headed dragon will purge the darkness that holds this world. And he said that Kindscale is the harbinger of Fazarak's return. The Scald will reform, and the world will be set right. Fazarak's eye is an omen. It appeared before my ancestors were driven from this plane, and it has arrived now to rejoice in their return. That is what you remember him saying.
I'm just gonna sidebar to Heinrich and being like, I think the dwarf stays alive, but I don't know about his friend.
I think that would be wise. So I have an idea to posit to you, good sir. And
What's your name?
No, don't, because then if he dies, we'll feel bad.
My name is Gibbon. It's Goblins.
What? Goblins? Give it goblins?
Like goblins, but without the L. Goblins.
She can't
Cute.
read, but okay.
That's a cute name, Mr. Gobbins.
The Dragonborn, our leader, is Raunar.
Nah, I don't care about him.
Oh, well, okay.
He's also probably gonna be dead.
No, what about the other guys? I don't care about the Dragonborn. What's the other guys?
The human's name is... one second.
Was.
He's alive.
He's still alive.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. Gunter's been left to his own devices for quite some time at
No,
this
he
point.
hasn't, because Shay didn't leave Gunter.
That's true. So hang on one sec. So the human's name is Nedril. And our friend was named, and he gestures to the orc, Clyastar. And you can see he struggles with the pronunciation. It's an orc name, and he... Do any of you speak Orcish?
Mm-mm.
But I've heard it before, so I'm going to say, I think it's
Clyastar.
Perhaps. I've never been able to get it correct.
It's more of like a
Sunrise name.
sneeze or something.
So
Star. He tries.
I have an idea, and I just would like to get this out before we make any other agreements. If we mean to keep you alive, then you must make it down safely. Because if you have dreams and she reads your mind, then we are discovered. I don't want to kill you, so that would be the other option, but it still exists. Why don't you...
I prefer the first option.
Yes, I assume you would, as do I. Why don't you come help us locate our quarry, this
Helia.
Helia.
Gia.
This Gia Helia, as our Tabaxi friend here.
Her
has.
name is Helia, I believe.
Okay.
No, that's what it said. Gia.
You come and help us in any way that you can, maybe Well, we'll figure that out. And then, once we have secured her, we will grant all of you, ourselves included, safe passage back down to ensure that you arrive there.
Even Ragnar, when he looks at the Dragonborn.
Yeah, we don't. This is a one pack. This is a one-person deal. No, like 2 for 1.
You say he's a little fanatical. He's more in line with kind scale than not. I don't think that lack of dreams would be enough motivation to stop him by the sound of it. If he came here of his own volition and chooses to remain.
He looks kind of sad.
He should be given the choice.
True, and he has seen us too, so whether or not
You
we
do
want
what
to.
you want with the Dragonborn. I'll step out of it. Up to you guys. My
gonna
vote
kill him.
is my vote.
We will bring him along. His survival,
Ugh.
like yours and ours, to be fair, is not guaranteed.
Gunty
But we'll
has
bring
a
him
very
along.
high-
All right,
I'm going to
Gunter, when
message to Gunter, be like, you can let him die in the elemental room. That's totally chill with me. That's what I messaged to him.
Gunter, in your
Sorry.
mind, Hendrik's voice gives you permission to murder somebody within the
No. Let him die of his own, not choice, but, we just walk him slowly through the elemental room.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Gunter, what are you doing?
So Shay is over the human body still.
Yep, she is kind of like standing over it very protectively. She's looking at you. The expression is
I'm
not-
gonna be like, I'll come back later and go for the.
Okay. The only person,
Um,
the only person that has not been looted yet is
I'm gonna.
this dwarf.
Well-
Loot him while he's tied up. That's rough.
Matt, you are freezing again, so I did miss what you just said.
I'm gonna go away from Shay to the other body and loot that one.
Okay, so you've looted all of the bodies. All the bodies have been looted, with the exception of the tied up dwarf.
Okay. I think I'm going to go over to the tied up dwarf.
Okay.
I'm gonna push him down.
Okay, so as you guys are talking and you guys are beginning to make progress in this negotiation, Gunter saunters over and just shoves him to the ground. What are you doing?
I'm going to grab my shoulders and be like, oh, whoa, hey, come on, Gunter.
Okay,
It's
so
like,
the
we
dwarf-
can't let him live.
We can if we can get him safely down.
I'm not going back down just yet. Plus, he saw me.
Gunter,
And
Gunter. Fine. If you need this, I can put it back on and I cast minor illusion and recreate the
It's
slightly
not good enough.
delayed hair.
long, yeah. Oh, wait, you're just doing your minor illusioning just the braid?
No, the whole thing.
You
But it's
minor illusion.
like he moves his hand through it and there's like a millisecond delay. So
It's not the same.
Gunter, you swish it away, but it's still there. I mean, your hand just passes right through it. And you were aware it's an illusion.
Sorry, our friend here used to look like this, I suppose.
We can't risk it. It's too risky.
You can see now, all of a sudden, his eyes widen a little bit with that illusionary beard, and he turns to you, Gunter, and in Dwarvish says, "Oh, you're a dwarf."
Well, now we know it's the best disguise we've got for him so far.
Guiding bolt.
No!
Good.
Counterspell. I use counterspell.
Okay.
Level 5.
Level 5 counterspell.
I have to use it.
It counters. Yeah, you don't even need to roll because the highest that he can do is a level 5. So yeah,
I'm moving
as
to
you hold
restrain
up
Gunter.
counterbolt, as you hold your hand out and cast guiding bolt, all of a sudden there's this flash around Heinrich. These glyphs appearing all around him, almost backlighting him, and you can see the guiding bolt as it emerges. These little motes of different kinds of arcane energy just streak around, almost magic missile-like, and intercept it. And this bolt just blinks out into nothingness.
I feel like I would do like a hand wave, like, Professor Snape deflecting someone.
Sure.
Just be like,
Hand wave over, and these symbols just erupt around and just tear it to the side, and it just fizzles into nothing.
Now I
Shay,
should
what
have
are you
been.
doing?
I'm running.
Good
I'm gonna go
thing.
over and I'm gonna act a restrain Gunter at that point. Like
I've still
this is-
got my axe.
No, no.
Make
No.
another-
All right.
He's trying to kill the guy. Trying to use
dwarf.
guiding bolt, counterspell
Shay.
it, and waste
No!
the spell
Gunter,
slot.
don't hurt the dwarf!
Wait. Settle. Shay, go ahead and make a attack roll. This is you're trying to restrain him.
Yeah.
Gunter, make an athletics check.
That's a
Check
natural
yourself.
20.
Okay, never mind. Don't make anything. So
Oh,
Gunter,
no.
you begin to reach back, and you're just like, I still have. And Shay is just on you. You feel these iron grip of Shay's hand enclose around your arms, and you are now restrained.
What are you doing?
Keeping you from doing something stupid.
I have to side with Shay on this one, Gunter. That's very
You're being
inappropriate.
foolish. We can't let him live. If he doesn't get back down there, then he's gonna let everyone know.
Well,
But he wants to go back down.
is that true?
I don't care what he wants.
The dwarf's still on his side on the ground because nobody's righted him from where Gunter shoved
I'll
him.
write him as I'm asking.
Kind of haul
Gesture of kindness.
nods to you. Thank you. No, I intend to stay with this group of refugees wherever they are until something happens. She will come for them.
I'm
Maybe
not buying it.
News from above and help ready them, or even, whatever.
I don't
I
believe
have no
there
idea
is
beyond that point.
a way to be ready. She is forming an army, and though most members of it are not there by their own volition, at least not directly, there are mighty creatures above.
Such as
Trolls,
giants.
giants.
I'm sure I've heard of them, but I still haven't seen one. That's not true. I have.
A lot of things. Things that I do not have names for. Creatures that appear to be like dragonborn but larger, winged. There are.
Dragons?
I do know what a dragon is.
Oh, just checking.
No, not like dragons, but something similar. There are many things, and I have not seen all of them.
Well, look.
Yeah, and you're not gonna see him either.
You're still restrained, so.
Still restrained.
You'll make it back down if you go with us, but you first have to help us get this person back so that we may escort them. This is our intent of coming up this far.
Krodok now approaches and stands next to you, Heinrich, and he bends down close to the dwarf. Not terribly close, not intimidating. But he says, "What my companion is trying to say is the only path down begins by going up. Isn't that right, Heinrich?"
Correct. In a directly indirect way that you Zinni, have such good ways with words.
Is that a
Oh,
You
saying?
talk good.
Such a way with words.
Thank you. And he straightens up and draws back. The dwarf kind of nods slowly. I will do what you ask if it means safety for me and at least some of my friends. I understand that Ragnar may have chosen a fate for himself with his allegiance. But if
Oh,
you
he
do find a
chose
way-
all right.
Again, still very much restrained, but that
Yeah,
natural
that's
20, you're restrained for a little bit. You're kind of restrained until you do something drastic or Shay decides to let you go.
I'm biding my time.
Okay. So you he nods and says, I do understand that Ragnar may have chosen his own path with his allegiance, but if you do find a way, any way, to spare him, please do. Before this, he was a good leader.
I know how paths can turn and they can change. If you believe him to be someone worth following, then maybe there's something to it. I have no weird, hairless, eyeless, white chitinous dog in this fight.
Well, you all seem very capable. You didn't get to see, but he is, for whatever his faith, capable of extraordinary things. He can heal people.
That is a good thing to know.
Cool. Let's go.
Well, how should we do this? You say the next room has traps, and with that word you gave us, I'm sure you could also use it to disable these, correct?
Yes.
Okay. First act of trust that you won't try to turn. I would like you to disable the traps.
Kind of holds his hands up.
Sure, no weapons, unfortunately, but
That's
okay.
as long as you do not require me to fight, that's fine. But know that if we do find conflict, I will run.
I'm sure you wouldn't make it far, but if you stick closer and try to avoid the fight, sure, that's fine. But you know what? Up to you. And I untie his hands.
Okay, he seems really uncertain about what you just said. He
For
rubs
what
his
it's
wrists
worth,
and
I will guard you.
seems to regard you. Looking at your clothes in particular, you are Zunyi.
I am.
Seems to regard this a little bit. Stands up. What are we doing with them in the meantime? And he gestures to Raunar and the human who is still unconscious.
I suppose we will. Well,
I'm gonna make a break for it.
No.
Is there anything that you're doing other than just trying to make a break for it?
I mean,
Oh.
I'm gonna like pull the old like whoop out of my coat. Slip
Okay.
out from under.
Go ahead. Make imposing athletics checks, the two of you.
Who's got a natural 20 now, Shay?
Guessing it's Gunter. So, Shay, as
26 for just shiggles.
you grab on, and as you do, the grip is almost too tight. Gunter's small, wrinkly wrist, the skin actually kind of bunches as his hands pull, and then kind of suck underneath and out through the sleeves. And you're holding this cloak, Gunter. You crouch down now at Shay's feet, basically. What are you trying to do? Gunter, you're breaking up a little bit, so it's difficult to tell. But if you can hear me, what would you like to do?
I'm making a dash to go and kill the Dragonborn.
Okay,
Do I get a reaction?
I'm going to say, yeah. You would get an attack of opportunity as he leaves your melee range, so you can certainly
Great.
try.
I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, good. Roll your attack.
My friends. Why did they do this?
How's a 24?
Well,
Yeah, 24. So you grab on. Gunter slips away. You throw his, like, kind of crusty, as his hands go away from it, like his rope, they don't close. You know, it's a little crusty. And so you cast it to the side. And you dart down and you grab him by the shoulders. And Gunter, you kind of like, your legs almost swing out as again you are seized by Shay.
Can I like almost like on top, like pin him?
No.
Dwarf, watching all of this, looks at you, Heinrich, and says, as much as I do not wish to go forward, we might want to do so quickly.
Yes. I mean, we at least need to have someone guard. If we're going to sneak, because this is seemingly the only option, I feel it would be best if Krodok and I stay behind, as he would be help for me, and I would be no good and no aid to any sort of clandestine ventures in the future. And I just kind of like shake my chainmail and, you know, yeah.
Sure. Krodok
So I would
nods.
stay here and guard these two, making sure they don't do anything foolish.
I am happy to assist you with that, Heinrich.
And then Gunter can't be left here with I don't have the I don't know, fortitude to deal with him consistently while you guys go ahead. And he has proven himself quite deceptive in the past in strange ways. So maybe the rest of you would go on ahead and retrieve this I don't know, bounty? That's not the right word, but for the two of you, Morwen and Gunter, your goal of coming up this far.
I'm gonna kind of lean down close to Gunter's ear. and say, I understand that you're upset and that things have happened that perhaps have made this very complicated and difficult for you. But this...
And you're not listening to me!
This is not how it happens. You came up here for a reason. Killing Dragonborn in random alleys is not what that reason was.
Keeping our cover is.
And if we move
And
quick,
keeping these fools alive
our
is
own
putting
cover
us
will
at
be fine.
unnecessary risk.
You're creating a larger delay by making a huge scene. Go with
I'm
Morwen.
not the one holding me tight.
Go with Morwen. Yes?
Hi, friends.
I'm taking his stuff.
You are doing nothing. You've
I'm
had your
taking his
chance.
stuff.
You've had your chance to take what is his.
Chance, I'm taking his stuff. You
So
make me do all this stuff, I'm at least gonna go. Brushing Shay aside.
I'm still on top of you.
yeah, difficult to brush Shay aside. At this moment, though, the dwarf kind of leans over to you, Heinrich, and he says, if you don't mind me asking, who are you all? I thought you were some kind of group, but clearly not.
We're the Finger Gang, bitch.
He turns and looks at you with this sort of weird squint. Actually. Okay.
Unfortunately, that's true. This recent dilemma, well, it's recent, as in one floor below. So he's still coming to grips with his new non-dwarven appearance, if you will.
Don't point that out.
I'm not saying it loudly enough. I'm like answering to the guy, not like Gunter and Shay are in their own thing.
So are you guys a guild or a company, or what kind of a thing is the Finger Gang?
Friends.
Sure. Friends. We have all been led here in various ways, and all of our paths seem to have intertwined, and we are seeing it through. That's about as much as I can confidently say.
He shakes his head and just kind of says, there was a time where we were good bandits. He just kind of sighs.
Agents of chaos.
So,
Right, let's get moving.
more when you're going. Shay, Gunter, what kind of resolution are we drawing here?
Gunter.
Gunter, please don't kill the dwarf at least. We need him to get through and downstairs, and he wants a peaceful life. I don't care about the other two, but I like the dwarf. Give me that one.
I'm assuming you're going over to Gunter and kind of saying it's a little quieter.
I'm
So
going to
that,
Shay the telephone. No, just
No.
kidding. Yeah.
pass it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell Gunter, say, please.
Gunter, what are you doing?
You staying here, killing these men, is not going to bring your beard back. Nor is
I'm
it
gonna
going to
give,
make
like,
you feel better.
Big cat eyes and sad face. Please, just not the dwarf. Please.
I think it's stupid to let him live, but give me his armor. I'm taking the armor, and
You're
then
fine.
I'll go.
You're fine.
I'm taking the armor.
It's too big for you anyway. Wouldn't fit.
It's
How are
too
you gonna
big
carry
for
it?
me.
Yes.
I'm gonna carry it on my body when I'm wearing armor.
You're fine.
Here, I
You're plenty
if I
well
gave you
armored,
the-
and I kind of bang on his little.
I give Gunter the.
I'll be the one to decide if I'm plenty well armored. You're not the boss of me.
I show the dragon medallion that I took off the Dragonborn, and I'm like, this to keep the dwarf alive.
So Gunter, Morwen swings in front of you, about this large, probably about like 4 or 5 inches across, a fairly large golden medallion. On it featured a 3-headed dragon.
It's called Bling.
What is this bling's purpose?
Well, the Dragonborn would know, and if you kill him, you never will.
I'm gonna make Shay eat her words. No, I'm not gonna make Shay eat her words yet. That's too high a spell slot.
Okay. That's scary.
At least we're folks.
I'm gonna can I like inspect this medallion?
What are you trying to discern about it?
What is it? What's going on with this thing?
Make an investigation check.
What is this bling of which she speaks? Natural 20! Again!
Alright.
This is a
You
nice
look at this
night.
bling as it kind of swings around in Morwen's hand, and as it rotates through, it catches the fire a little bit, and you've seen this symbol before. Your eyes kind of cross as you go way back in your mind, and at some time when you were kind of more towards the west coast, back maybe in Mudtown, maybe beyond, you've traveled pretty far. You've seen the symbol of Tiamat, the three-headed dragon. Very much an evil entity. Not very commonly worshipped, not especially now, very much out of vogue. There was a time, perhaps about 150 years ago, where there was sort of a swelling and uprising when a number of Dragonborn did make their way much to the south, in Darkpool, actually. But since then, almost unheard of. You've never heard of Fazarak used in this particular term, but yeah, you know that is Tiamat. This is a medallion. And now taking that and kind of your eyes going beyond to the body of the Dragonborn, looking at him and thinking about how he sort of put his hand on his chest and suddenly his eyes cleared. Probably a paladin.
Oh. I don't need that.
I put it on.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Fairly heavy, but yeah, you put it on. It's medallion.
So,
But
So
like
on
tucked.
you guys go. On you go.
Okay.
No time to waste, please.
Are we good?
I'm just gonna go ahead and go on the record once again, because it seems that every time that I do this, you continue to ignore it, and then I'm proven right, and then we do this again, and again, you still make the wrong choice. I'm gonna go ahead and say it so that everyone hears it. I think these people should be killed. There,
Heard.
I said it, and now I'm fine. We're going.
Acknowledged. We're good?
And when
Okay.
it blows up in our face, you will be the one to blame once again.
You can say you were when it comes around. Are we done?
And I'm eventually going to get back my stuff from you. Don't think I haven't forgotten.
You're fine.
I don't forget.
Yes, Gunter. Are we good?
The 270-year-old dwarf says as his eyes open, and you think about all the times he has forgotten things. But
He froze.
Freeze.
yeah. But Gunter, you make your way over to Morwen, and are you guys progressing on and forward?
Yeah.
Okay. At long last,
Right?
a
I
group
want
has
to.
been assembled.
Mhm.
Gunter, Morwen, and Shay, you guys are going to go.
Yes.
And you're
With-
taking this.
With dwarf.
You're taking the dwarf with you.
Did you write his name down?
Yeah. Goblins.
Give them.
Goblins.
Goblets.
Ebu.
Goblins.
I'm going to call them Gibbos.
You do what you want to do. So, who is going?
Us
You,
four.
you nailed it.
We're
Joe.
going.
So,
So Chronic,
staying
and I
behind
say-
is you and Krodok with these captives.
Yep.
The four of you begin to move forward as you open the door at the far end of the hallway. And even as you do, the dwarf calls out into the space, Jostad. Just echoes, because this is a very tall room. And you can see rising up, there are multiple levels, and there are these sort of similar to the crystals that you'd seen previously. Although these not necessarily kind of chained to the floor. They seem to be floating above, almost braziers of a sort. Actually similar to the ones that you saw outside of the Temple of Helm. But as this happens, you can see all the way up at the top, there was this kind of glowing light that began to sort of illuminate the space, and then it just goes dark. And the dwarf looks at all of you. Should I go first?
Push them.
Okay, he kind of stumbles a couple steps into the space. He turns around and looks and takes another couple steps forward.
I'll walk up to walk with him.
Okay, you walk with him. And with you joining him, he kind of regains confidence that this is where you guys are going and you're not going to shoot him in the back. And he begins to walk towards the stairs. What are the rest of you guys doing?
I'll follow behind Shay.
Okay, you follow
I will
behind.
also follow.
All right. So you guys make your way up the stairs. It's a zigzagging stair that leads to a variety of platforms, each with a brazier. And as you walk, he says, if we hadn't said the word, the top crystal would emit a pulse through all of these, and it gets stronger as you go up. But we will be fine. And you guys make your way up and begin to curl. It's 4 different platforms that you go up and through until finally you reach one final staircase that goes up and up and up into almost like a darkened doorway. There is what looks like faint flickering bits of light underneath it. You can hear, getting not terribly close, but maybe like keeping the stairway between you, you do hear just the little elements of conversation, almost like a library in the distance, very quiet, but a number of voices, hard to tell from this distance what. But before we progress, because it is 10:30, this is where we're going to take our break. So, yeah, thank you guys for sticking with us through the first combat of our Discord game. Although you guys just rolled through it, no problem. So, very good use of blindness. That was actually quite good. Yeah, because he had some powers. He had some abilities. No, he didn't. I mean, he has to be able to see to use almost all of them. So that's really unfortunate. They're very sight-based abilities, very pointedly so. But either way, it is 10:26. We will be back, say, 10:40. Let's call it. Yeah?
Sounds good.
We'll see you in just a bit, 10:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Adventures in Alberon. Thank you for sticking with us through the break. A couple cool things during the break that we learned. Both Doss and Talon, who are in the chat right now. Talon, a moderator, longtime follower. Doss also haven't followed along for a very long time now. The two of you guys got, along with somebody else, Hero Forge figures from us because we do random giveaways. We don't announce them. And they got them in the mail, and I just saw Doss's, and it looks super cool. So we're going to post that to Instagram a little bit later, probably after the session, but something to look forward to. It looks super cool. And I believe the character is named after Morwen, so that's also pretty nifty.
Not
Not after, but it's Morwen's name, I think in reverse, if I remember correctly. But Doss can correct me on that. So jumping back into things, Finger Gang, or the members of you who decided to go forward, being Shay, Morwen,
Gunter.
Gunther, and this dwarf accompanying. You guys made your way through this trap room, the dwarf speaking out the phrase and allowing you guys safe passage. You made your way to this long, dark staircase where you can see now underneath the door little flickers of light. You can hear a conversation, although dim and muted in the background. You can smell little bits of fire. But aside from that, without getting closer, not too much you can tell. What do you guys want to do?
You think that's a tie?
Who are you talking to?
I'm
hard
kind
to
of like
say.
turning back to everyone in general who's following along.
Okay. The
I
dwarf.
guess they're in front of me, actually.
Well, I think you and I are next to each other now.
Yeah, so I'll probably like
We're in
lean
pairs.
over to you, be like, "Hey, you think that's a look tie talking up there?"
Hard to tell from down here. Wait, so are we at the top of a stair?
So there's about 30 feet of stairs above you. You are at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
The staircase is about 5 feet wide. There are 32 stairs. The walls are stone brick, as they have been. And then the doorway itself seems to be metal, and there's a little bit of light coming from underneath. But it's about 30 feet up and above you.
Why don't you guys chill out for a second and let me run up and see what I can find out.
All right,
Maybe
go
listen to these
have a
voices
listen.
if I recognize one.
Go have a listen and guidance.
Okay.
Right, going snuck.
Next stealth check.
25.
Yeah, you feel real hidden, and you creep and crawl up towards the door. As you near the door, you can hear like little fragments of conversation. Go ahead and make a perception check. Sorry about that.
13.
Your guidance.
Oh yeah, roll that d4.
Oh, there it is. 15.
Okay. You hear two voices, fairly distinct. One a little deeper than the other. One maybe female, although from this distance and through the door, you can't make out really any direct words, but they seem close. One maybe no more than 20 feet away, one a little further away from that. But it just sounds like two voices. They do seem to kind of echo a little bit. They have this dissonant quality that would indicate that the room beyond quite large. But aside from that, not a lot you can make out.
So I don't recognize any of the voices.
No. And you certainly don't recognize one as a look ties.
Yeah.
Look ties voice pretty distinctive.
So this door, keyhole, peephole.
No keyhole, but there is like about an inch gap underneath. You could maybe look underneath.
I'm doing a peek-see.
Okay, you crouch down. You guys watch as Morwen gets really low and one eye goes up and underneath. You can see beyond, maybe 40 feet away, 50 feet away. It's hard to tell, but there is like a darkness that would indicate that there's a stairway opposite of you. To the left, there seems to be elements of stone wall, although it seems to open. So maybe not a doorway, or maybe a doorway without a door on the left. And you can see from the flickering fire, there's probably a torch up and in the corner, perhaps, or flickering from somewhere nearby.
Do I see feet?
You do not.
All right, so I just hear two voices in the room, not directly outside of the door. Neither of which I can.
Correct.
Okay. Are they saying? Can I make out what they're saying?
Sure. Or not really direct words, I would say. It is kind of echoey. Given your perception check, probably not direct words. It seems like just a back and forth, fairly casual conversation. It's not heated. You don't really get any emotion out of it.
Okay. I'll scurry back down and tell you guys my findings.
Okay. So Morwen comes back down quietly and relays what she saw, heard. I would say also, though, Morwen, you would have seen maybe elements that would appear to be like a darker stone pillar between you and that staircase, like a support structure, probably. And that's maybe where the torch is hung on. But she relays all this information to you, Shay, Gunter, and Dwarf. What do you guys want to do?
I can try to sneak in, see a little further, but I don't know if I'll have a whole lot of coverage.
The dwarf kind of holds up a hand. When you get to the top and you open the door, there will be about 5 feet of stairs before you reach the actual floor. So you should be okay to sneak up those stairs, but go much beyond, and there isn't a lot of cover before the 2 guards. There's one posted at each door.
Oh, do you know who they are?
No. More people probably similar to us. Maybe not there of their own volition.
Okay. So I'm just gonna keep going unless you guys tell me not to.
After you.
It's
All right.
not up to me.
The dwarf looks
Okay.
around. Is it up to me?
No.
I don't even know at this point.
And Morwen kind of turns. Are you walking
go
back
now.
up? Okay, you go up. Quietly, you open the door, and you can see in front of you there is, going off and to the right, another very short staircase, only about 5 feet high. You can see beyond this now, there is what looks like stone walls. To the left, they open up in perhaps like an 8-foot wide gap, and you can see just beyond that now, there is what looks like, not terribly tired, like a Coltrom dwarf, a woman, actually. She is wearing armor, and you can see hastily kind of stenciled on, there is another purple dragon's head. You can see she's turned and kind of talking to somebody out of your eyesight. There is a stone wall that's blocking that, but that wall does have a gap. Another 7 or 8 foot wide doorway. And beyond that, there is a pillar with a torch hanging from it. And then you can see that there's a staircase even beyond that. It seems to be a pretty symmetrical room, so what you're seeing around you, you'd imagine, is mirrored on the other side of that pillar.
Are you guys following me?
Yeah.
Is this a solo mission? Oh, okay.
No, I would have followed you up.
So go ahead, everybody make a stealth check. And I would say, no, you're fine. You've made one. All right. Hang on.
Good. 9.
Okay.
19.
Okay. His dwarf rolled a 13. So as a group skill check, there's a point where as you guys are creeping forward, Gunter, you still trying to cover up your face from the shame of being a beardless, hairless dwarf. You almost stumble forward. And Shay, very quickly, and already kind of watching you, manages to stick a foot out and catch your heel right before you topple backwards and saves you from making quite a lot of noise. Morwen, from your front vantage point, you can hear the dwarven woman just kind of go, "Did you hear something?" No, and just kind of and begins to go back to this conversation. But at the moment, you seem to be fairly hidden, and as a group, you get to the staircase. You can now all see what Morwen sees as well.
I'm gonna turn around. Shay, you're right behind me,
Probably.
or next in line, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna whisper. Should we Should we ambush?
You're better at this than I am. What do you think?
The dwarf pipes up. There is some distance between these two guards and the rest. It's possible, but you'll need to be quick.
So we get to kill these ones, but not this one.
I don't know these.
No one said kill.
Well, one of them's got that necklace on, and I don't know if I trust anyone wearing that necklace.
All right. I'm going to go forward. Like, let's go. I'm going to slowly open the door.
Okay, you open the door a little bit, peering past Morwen, and you can see all this stuff now.
Do we see the guards ahead?
Yep, you can see one of the guards ahead,
How
diagonal.
far away?
From where you guys are at the stairs. Oh man, maybe no more than 8-9 feet away. Just
wow.
the doorway.
And then the other one is presumably past him.
Presumably past her, yeah.
Okay. I think I'm gonna cast silence on her,
Okay.
and then
what's the throw
sneak
on
up.
silence?
So, for the duration, no sound can be created within or pass through a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose within range. I'm
Okay.
gonna center it. Actually, I'm gonna center it so that she's it's like 20 feet in front of her, and she's like on the edge of it, so that if she comes towards us, she can make noise. I don't care. But if she goes towards other people to try and like get their
Okay.
attention,
Sure. So you're casting it
she's got to
beyond
travel
her.
20 feet or like 18 feet, we'll say. You know.
Okay, you cast it on the furthest point away from her that you can see, and you would imagine it does affect a fair amount. However, this does have an interesting side effect. So as you cast silence, Morwen, you can kind of hear this guard go, "Oh no, you don't think that he would actually?" And her mouth keeps moving, but the words just stop. And at this point,
I'm going to beat her. I'm going to sneak attack.
the Gunter rushes out. I need everybody to roll initiative, I guess. So we're getting into this. I'm going to go ahead.
I picture like Gunter running past all of us, and then like when I'm like right after them.
So, you guys do not currently see all of this room, but for a little bit of reference as to what you are going into here, I'm going to go ahead and post the actual room itself. So you guys are at the staircase in the lower left, in the southwestern corner. The guard that you are talking about is that X that is sort of right to the left, right into that first doorway. Gunter, the silent point that you placed is right in the middle of this large crate of kind of whiteness, although it is filled with an inky black liquid that seems to kind of slosh and move despite there not being any air within this chamber, or any current of air. You are now all rolling initiative because things are about to go real quick. Give me 1 second here. Okay.
Who would have thought 2 combats in one night?
I know, you guys haven't done it in like a month, and then all of a sudden, lots of combat. All right, so anybody natural 20? Okay, 25 to 20?
23.
25.
Okay, 25 and 23 is going to be Shay, and then Morwen is 25. Anybody 20 to 15?
19.
19, okay. Gunter.
Yeah, Gunty's got some good. He's got a pep in his step tonight.
Yeah, he hasn't killed yet tonight. He's still hungry.
15 to 10.
I'm not in this.
Oh,
I'm not
right,
in
yeah.
Yeah, you've got several
That's,
who's in it.
that's everyone.
That's everyone.
Plus the dwarf, but
True.
We're going to do.
he's still tied up. No, we untied him.
We untied
He's
him.
fine.
He also said if combat was going to happen, he was going to try to book it backwards because he's
That's
not trying to
true.
fight.
That's true.
but-
Another reason why.
But Morwen, so the order is Morwen, Shay, Gunter, this silenced guard, and then another guard. However, Gunter, you are going to act as a surprise round first, then we'll go to Morwen, Shay, and then we'll skip you, but continue to go. So, Gunter, what are you doing?
I'm gonna try to sneak up behind this guard, and
Her back is to you as she's like gesturing wildly at her throat.
yeah, and then I'm gonna. Can I try to grapple her?
Yeah, you certainly can. Make an athletics check.
Nice, 18.
Hang on, I'm trying to see if this is a 6 or a 9. That is a 9. Yeah, so you kind of quietly go gesturing, grab her. She's now grappled.
I imagine Gunter looking like a face hugger.
I'm trying to like really draw from my inner Morwen when I pounce and I'm like, ah!
Okay, so you pounce, and as you do, you can kind of now see all the way down. This is a long room, but it's well lit. There are torches kind of placed about 20 feet apart, 15 feet apart. There are these small outcroppings of stone that kind of go out, not quite pillars, but they go to the ceiling, definitely structural supports. You can now see beyond this, there are these two large, perhaps 12 feet to 15 feet long barricades. There are little elements of jagged metal sticking out. You can see another barricade in the middle that's under construction currently. And Gunter, there are a lot of people in this room. 5, 10, 15, perhaps, hard to tell. But you can see they are now beginning to turn. And Gunter, all the way back at the very end of the room, you just make out standing with two other individuals kind of to the left of this lean-to sized tent with a chair underneath it. You see elements of a half orc, tall, lanky for an half orc, long hair. You can see a quiver at his back with these arrows that seem to shed their own light. You see a look tie, and he, as you lock eyes with him, sees you. And that I believe is your turn. Unless you want, you've used 10 feet of movement. You could technically try to drag her 5 feet back. That would get you into the doorway or through the doorway.
But that would also make her audible.
Yep, that's true.
I'll stay there.
Okay. That is your turn, Morwen. You see Gunter suddenly rush up and just snatch this silent guard. The guard is not making any noise. You can see her struggling. She's like trying to reach towards Gunter, but she's like silent.
I'm just like piggybacking around on behind her, like
she's like spinning in circles.
Okay, I'm going
Gunter's
to.
legs are swinging out.
Seeing that he ran past me, I'm just gonna chase after him.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna run like right to where he is, and then like halt and see everyone else, and just like
just gonna fade.
Homer Simpson it into the bush, you know?
Okay, yeah. You just lurk. You just see eyes into the darkness.
Got my weapons out.
Go ahead and make a stealth check if you're trying to hide.
That is an 18.
An 18. So you tuck yourself into the wall. Gunter, you, as in one of your rotations, as this guard is spinning, trying to get you off, you see first Morwen, and then you just see Morwen's eyes, and then you just see nothing. But Morwen, you're hidden. You are readying your weapons to attack if somebody gets close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If someone gets close and seems in means to hurt.
Sure.
Not just get close. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
somebody who comes close to you with hostile intent.
If he comes close, I'm not going to attack him.
Okay.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Shay, what do you want to do? And then it's going to be this quiet bandit's turn.
Well, having seen Morwen first dart up and then back up and disappear, I think is there like a frame there, or is it flush up against the...
So there is no door. It is just an open kind of doorway or path in. There's no frame. There's no wood. It's just stone.
Okay. I think I'm also going to attempt to like kind of push myself back up against the wall and like not be there.
Make a stealth check. It's going great.
Yeah.
That
That was a sneak.
dirty
but-
20.
All right.
I can math.
Okay, yeah, you also kind of tuck yourself in, and as you lean up, suddenly your hand brushes against something like fuzzy, and you turn, and you could just make out Morwen next to you. The two of you guys now like up against the wall.
I think before that though, I would have been like to Gobbins, like, go back to Heinrich, go down the stairs.
He's already turned. He's already turned.
Great.
He's already-
Go. Goodbye.
Alrighty, and that's your turn.
hmm
Okay, this silent guard is spinning, and Gunter, she's trying to get you off.
I'm like,
Go ahead and make it. Actually, she's going to make. I think it's a saving throw to break out of this. That is going to be a 23. So all of a sudden, you feel she finally gets hands on you and just like flings you off. You manage to land on your feet, but she's now standing
inside or outside the circle?
from where she is. I'm going to say probably you are outside, so you land just kind of right back to where you were. She's still inside the circle. She is going to look, and she actually wouldn't see Morwen and wouldn't see Shay. So you see she turns to her left, seems to look at something, and then turns back. And Gunter, she is going to attack you. She pulls and swings with the short sword. That is going to be a 15 to hit.
That misses.
That misses. So it kind of swings, and as you hit the ground, you stumble back, and the blade just barely misses your neck. Would have cut your beard clean in half had you had one, but you don't. That
Goes
is
through
her
the
turn. Gobbins turns and just books it. He makes it 60. No, he makes it 40 feet with his dash. So that is going to be down the stairs, getting through the hall. He'll get to audible range to you, or visual range to you, Heinrich, on his next turn. That is going to bring us to this other guard. Let's see. It's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20. Is only going to go about 20 feet before, as you can see. No, can't see Gunter. So that's 30 feet. Oh, she's going to have to dash. So she dashes all the way to the doorway, not seeing any of you as she approaches. When she finally gets to the doorway, she sees you, Gunter, and the silent guard beyond. You can see the guard like mouthing words furiously at this guard. And he just looks and says, I can't hear. And that's kind of his turn because he dashed. That is going to bring us to... let me see if they see you. Okay. Morwen, what do you want to do? Shay,
Wait,
you're
I
on
think
deck.
I didn't get a turn.
You did. You went. Your surprise round brought you to the front of the initiative order. So you're going to go after Shay.
Ah,
So even though your initiative was 19, you acted technically at initiative 26.
gotcha.
So Morwen, what do you want to do? Shay, you're on deck.
So there's 2 guards. How far away from me?
At the moment, these 2 guards are about 15 feet away from you.
And is one of them, when they spoke, could I hear that one person speak?
You cannot really see the full other guard, but you heard somebody speak. Yeah,
Okay. Oh, I can't see them?
they're just to the right. So right now, they are on the other side of that little stone kind of L,
Okay.
right next to where that first guard began. You can see like an arm and a leg, probably.
Like up top or to the right of the L?
Up top.
Like which ledge? At the top?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna stealthily creep around.
Okay.
What do
So
I
you
see?
creep around to the other side and peer out, and right in front of you is a huge, probably 8-9 feet tall, this large wooden crate. And you can see there are letters in common stamped on it. Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
What do these symbols mean?
9.
Okay. From all these letters, the only thing that pops out, you see a name. You see Al. And it's part of like a longer phrase, but that's the only name that you read. Maybe it's Al's box, hard to tell. But it's about 8-9 feet tall, and there's this black, goopy liquid that forms almost a meniscus over the edge of the crate. It is very viscous, and you can see it seems to kind of sway and move, despite the fact that nothing is there to cause any kind of disturbance.
And-
You can see beyond now, there's a number of moving individuals. They don't seem somehow to have really noticed anything happening yet. Nobody has really looked over, and because of Gunter's silence spell, they haven't heard anything yet.
Do I see Gunter?
Yes, you do. He is like right in the front. You would have seen Gunter just get thrown off of this individual. I mean, you can see that's all right in front of you, maybe like 10 feet.
Damn. I guess I'm going to attack the one that I heard speaking.
Yeah, go ahead, roll an attack. So you creep the other direction around the doorway that Gunter is in. You go through the other doorway and end up behind the one that spoke. You can now see taller, female, also pretty gaunt. Looks like a human, like mismatched leather armor and a short sword that is drawn. And she's kind of looking around now. Go ahead, roll your attack.
Dirty 20.
Okay, it is at advantage, so you are also getting your sneak attack because you're coming up from behind very quietly.
Dirty 20.
Yeah, so go ahead, roll your damage with sneak attack damage.
I think I might want to do non-lethal again. I'm feeling not lethal today.
Okay, you gotta say it before you make your attack. So this is not non-lethal.
Sorry. Oh, wait, why?
Because we've specified it a couple times now. Because you can't stab a guy and say, but not hard. You know, like you gotta kind of determine it before you stab him.
Okay. So let's see. 10, 12, 16, 22, 24, 26.
Okay, so you're trying not to kill this guy in your mind. You didn't say non-lethal, but you're like, I'm not going to kill this guy. So you stab him in the back of the leg. And as you do, you must hit like an artery or something because you sever and there's this spray of blood that hits the ground. You see she falls forwards, Gunter, into your circle of silence. And though you see her face turn red and her like the cords on her neck stand out as she screams in pain, there is no sound that emerges. There's another kind of spurt of blood and another, and the spurts get smaller as she dies silently on the ground. Yeah, she's
made that
you can
so
see
bad.
that other the other one kind of looks terrified now, looking back and forth. You can see this kind of gaunt individual, the eyes bulging in fear. Anything else, Warren?
I'm gonna grapple the scared one. Can I do that?
That's an action. Unfortunately, you cannot. So you still have a bonus action. You actually have a second attack if you want to attack the one.
No. I just
You could
I do
non-lethal
that,
that one.
You could.
Oh, I'll non-lethal the scared one.
Okay. So as you slash the first one and you see her
You're
collapse
like,
and die,
oops.
you kind of reverse your grip and then use the pommel to slam it into the other one. Go ahead and roll your attack. This is at advantage, but it's not a sneak attack.
18.
That hits. Go ahead and roll your non-lethal damage.
Okay. But also, right after I killed the first one, I'm gonna be like,
Okay.
for 5.
For 5. So you see Morwen just end this first one, slashes at the leg, and just you can see the life of this person exit the wound in like 4 spurts. And then you can see her just go and flip the reverse over and just conk the other one on the head. You watch as she recoils and her hands go up. There's a look of confusion that crosses through the fear for just an instant. Is that your turn, Morwen?
Nope. I'm gonna go back around the wall and what is it, cunning action or whatever, to re-hide.
Okay, so you're going to use your bonus action to hide. So roll a stealth check.
For 26. Right back next to Shay. Like,
Shay, your eyes watch Norman goes around the stone, and they never pick her back up, but you feel the kind of brush against your hand, and you look, and Morwen is right back next to you, breathing a little bit
Just like
harder.
blood spray.
Yeah, just across the face. Just big eyes. Yeah. That is your turn. Shay, what do you want to do? Gunter, you're on deck.
I still can't see from where I am the one that's left, right?
You can see the one that's left that looks terrified. Gunter is in front, like between you two. And then you can see now like a little bit of blood already starting to kind of run out from the doorway.
Sure.
What are you doing?
Dart forward and I'm gonna hit her.
Okay, real quick, you dart forward. You go right by Gunter. Go ahead and roll your attack.
24.
24, that hits. Roll damage.
9.
9. Okay, so you go up and you just deck him, and deck her, and already she's like recovering from getting hit by Morwen, and she turns, and as she's like trying to run away, you go up and you just hit her right in the back of the head. She stumbles forward, just barely catching herself. You can already see like a knot beginning to form, but she's still up.
Still moving. She gets
Yep.
a second hit.
All right, clear attack.
Congratulations.
That's more than the first one.
Yeah, don't have to roll damage. She has 1 hit point left.
Word.
You deck her again, and as you hit, you can feel the neck buckle forwards, and she tries to catch herself pinwheeling over until she goes face first straight into the stone, and you hear like a sickening crack, and she lies still.
But you
Well,
don't.
no, you know what?
Well,
You
stop
don't.
it.
You don't hear.
You imagine it would be a sickening
But you see the neck
I've done
bend
this enough.
sharply at an angle that is unnatural, and she lies still. At this moment,
I would
So
then
far,
back up and back away.
Okay. you pull back into the space, but at this moment now, you wait and you don't hear her neck crack. You don't hear anything. How long does silence last for? Does silence last for?
Up to 10 minutes.
Up to 10 minutes.
It's concentration.
You don't hear anything. It is quiet. Doesn't seem as if you've been noticed somehow because it did that very quick.
God.
But there is a dead body out in plain view on the other side of the doorway.
I'm going to
there is
drag the
just two,
bodies back on my turn. So
Okay, so you guys are now out of initiative for the moment.
I'm going to drag the bodies back so that they're out of sight, like back to where presumably
Okay.
drag the bodies back, and I turn around and Morwen and Shay are hiding in the corner.
Yeah, they're just like back there. So yeah, from your perspective,
welcome.
you saw Morwen kill the first one, and you kind of
Fair
saw
game.
Shay go past. Yeah, you saw them just beat the shit out of these two and then just dart back.
They get to. It's okay
Go
for
sit
them to do
around.
it. It's okay for them to do it, but not Gunter. Not when
Heinrich.
it matters.
At about this
Yeah.
moment, you hear this kind of as these footsteps approach, and like terrified, you can see this dwarf run up to you. He kind of grabs you by the edges of the scale mail, and he just says, "Your friends need help." And he lets go and he runs. He doesn't try to get either of his friends. He just books it back.
Well, if that's the case, then
Does he book it back to, like, in our direction?
no.
or, like, the other
He's
way?
going.
no.
He doesn't even
He's
care what's
bailing.
going on
He's
anymore. He's running.
bailing.
Great.
yeah,
Good.
this
fine.
is a.
I think once it's kind of settled
more
and Gunter's
panicked.
dealing with the bottles, like, or bodies,
Yeah.
I would, like, skirt down and try to contain that situation.
Okay, so as he runs by you, Shay just comes zooming into view.
I'm like, wait, you're in trouble.
We're good. For the moment, we're good.
Hmm. Yeah.
There
Okay.
May
I don't have time to
been
react to this.
more magic. It was quiet. Don't worry.
You can see Croddick like looking kind of his feathers ruffled, looking a little bit perturbed.
Do I need to? I mean, go catch the guy.
Yes.
I can't catch up to him.
Yes.
Shay, I can get him.
Okay. You do.
And almost as fast as Shay, Croddick down and away,
Yeah.
like a single feather just falling down on
Oh.
the ground.
I'm not there to pick it up. Damn it.
You're not, sorry.
I'm gonna be like to Morwen. This is just what I told you about.
There's a lot of other guards, but so
He
far,
bailed right
don't think
away,
they know about us.
and he
So,
lied to us.
So we're
Yeah.
not discovered yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I will
I
stay
don't need to
here.
kill that person.
Stay here.
Hold my position.
I'll come get you if
Good.
we need you.
I
Okay.
don't know my own
Thank you.
strength.
I trust you can
Drop
make it
in the
down here
bucket.
quickly.
You're what?
Try not to
I'm
talk
dropping
over each other.
Yeah, you guys. Come
So
on.
Heinrich
Let this
and
scene
Shay.
play out. Okay. Anyways, so we have established that it is okay. I am just going to remain here, and Shay will be the one to come back and get me if
I think we're
there's
good.
actually trouble. Other dude was jumpy. That much is very clear.
Yes.
Okay.
But he said that. He said he was going to run. So there you go.
Right. Right. Man of his word.
Good for the moment. I'll let you know. And back.
I will remain here.
You don't even hear individual footsteps. Shay just darts, and you can see the blur of orange just disappear down the hall. And a couple seconds go by, and then you would hear from over in the direction of the Dragonborn. She's right here.
That.
Yeah, coughing, and then she's right. And looking over, you can see the gold eyes kind of cracked open. On his side, bound, the Dragonborn is now awake.
Who is right?
Whoever she is.
What, that he would run?
That you are all in a very large amount of trouble.
Okay. Sure. Anything else?
His eyes kind of squint a little bit at you, but he doesn't say anything.
I'm going to knock him unconscious again.
How are you going to do that?
A non-lethal Eldritch Blast.
Okay. Not even going to make you roll.
No, it's more effective.
You hold your hand out, and the glyphs burst into life, and you see the eyes widen for just a second before it slams into him, and he down onto the ground again, unconscious.
Can't dream and communicate if he's unconscious. That's my reasoning.
Well, the dreaming part maybe not, but yeah,
Well,
difficult to communicate. So, Shay, you return. In the meantime, while that brief exchange was happening, Gunter and Morwen, what are you guys doing?
I think I was just like
I didn't need
arguing.
to kill them.
Well, how come I'm the one who's saying we gotta kill him? He ran away because he lied to us.
To.
Two people. That's not two people.
Either way, we gotta stash the stiffs. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. It would have been easier if we did this downstairs.
Well, let's bring them downstairs. Maybe you can pose as the dwarf lady, and I'll be the other one.
I'm washing my hands of this. This is on you and Shay now.
Wow, Gunter's actually the good guy in this scenario. How about that?
Well, what do we do now?
I don't know.
Shay, at this point, you return.
Every time I make the decisions, it gets poo-pooed anyway.
This is not the place to argue.
Oh, why don't we step into the circle here? I step over there.
So all you see loudly, and the bald
That's
dwarf,
actually
hairless, you can see the red very quickly flush into his pale skin, but no sound.
This is an
Blessedly.
improvement.
He's like a mime.
And I'm
Very
gonna step
angry
out.
mime.
Yeah.
Do you feel
Do you
better?
do you shout that out?
No, I'm stepping back out and being like, yeah, into the
Do you feel better? Good.
Okay. What do we do now?
Where did he say that this lady was kept under guard? Yes, but where? Up?
Those guards are gonna notice at some point that their friends aren't there.
Damn
Well,
it.
yes,
I
that's
meant
why we need to
riot.
move quickly. Where are we going?
I don't know. You're the boss.
I'm very pointedly now looking at Mormon.
Let's go that way.
And more 1 point.
We need to, Here. Okay. Let me take a moment to actually try to get a better situation of this room. Because
Okay.
I just kind of like dashed and killed and hit again.
So go ahead and make a perception check as you step over these two murdered people and into the actual room. You look throughout.
16.
16. With a 16, looking into the room, you can see this large crate. But beyond that, you see a number of people. They move and pass through stacks of crates and barrels, all kinds of different supplies, although you can't really make out what precisely they are. But you do see there are these two tall barricades with spikes coming out of them, and it's difficult to make out much beyond that. They do obscure a lot of the sightline. Looking through, though, you would notice you no longer see a Luktai standing over at that table. There are still the two people he was talking with. They seem to be engaged in
I'm not sure
conversation.
I ever saw him.
Maybe
Did I
you
ever
didn't.
see him?
You don't.
Only Gunti did.
Let's put it this way: you don't see any sign of a Luktai in this place. I would say with a 16, you can say on that table, though, in the very center, there's the downed barricade that's under construction, and that allows you a pretty good path of sight through the main part of the room. There is a table, and there does appear to be maybe scraps of paper or other kind of things. It seems to be maybe an area where if there were plans or information, that's where it would be. That's in the center of the room, straight down the middle. And people do keep kind of walking into your path. You're seeing these people, a variety of people. You see humans, all very gaunt and tired looking. You see a bugbear actually at one point kind of lumber between the crates. You'd even see very dark-skinned drow, but everybody seems tired.
Are any of them walking together, or are they all
It's,
separated and doing
it's
their own thing?
difficult to tell because you don't maintain a really good line of sight on any of them. They're moving things around. There is a sense of, like they're preparing something. A lot of these crates are being kind of inventoried and stacked. You can see and hear kind of the poof as one opens. One crowbar is one of them open, and you can see them remove what looks like maybe from this distance and with the 16, hard to tell. But it's just like general kind of activity. There doesn't seem to be a purpose. It might be kind of like a holding pattern at the moment.
All right, I'm gonna turn around to Shay, well, everyone, Shay and Gunter, and tell them what I saw.
Okay.
And all these people look really, really tired. Do you think maybe we could convince them to work with us if we get them over to Dreamless Land downstairs?
I mean, the potential exists, but I think that's too much time given what we're doing.
I saw a Luktai over there.
What?
Yeah.
Is he there?
I was gonna
Where?
say hi, but then I
Where?
got thrown. So
Where did you see him?
Like,
over there.
Gunter leans out and gestures towards the table all the way across this room, very, very distant, that you'd seen the kind of scrap of paper on.
He's not there anymore.
Yeah. Maybe he'll come visit.
Think you
I
would
don't
have
know.
already done that. Well,
Well-
on that table, it looks like there's a piece of paper that might be important. There was also some words on those boxes. Something about Al.
I don't think I know what
Have you heard of Al? Those are
Ow!
his yeah, I think they're stealing his boxes.
Make an intelligence check, I guess. Wow.
that's 12.
Yes. The 12, You would remember probably about 120-ish years ago. Um, you knew a guy used to hang out at what's it called? The
Little
Wolf's
guy.
Den, who went by Alvatique, individual from Gath, very kind of broody and kind of edgy. But aside from that, not a lot of other owls that you know.
Oh. I know an owl.
He also didn't really go by Owl, but I mean, a lot of
I
people
mean-
called him Owl.
They might have his
I
boxes.
Gunter called him owl.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
I mean, there were more letters. I just, when they're all put together like that, I get confused.
Well, what was it?
It's a great way of saying you can't read. I like that.
Could you-
Very clever.
Could you like shape them out for me?
Yeah. Can I? I mean,
I don't know. Can you? I'm asking you.
Morrowind, make a sleight of hand check.
To
I
draw
feel-
them on
maybe-
yourself.
like to draw an image of the crate.
Okay.
This
What was
is
your
the
sleight of
smoothest way of peeking around a corner.
So, Morrowind, you ta-da, and this leather armor, you can see the rivets themselves swarm into it's Comic Sans. I mean, it's a terrible representation of common. However, you can read it, and misspelled, you read Mudtown Alchemist Association.
Like, okay.
And all of a sudden, a lot of stuff come back to you. About 120 years ago, you were in Mudtown. You had just previously You had just previously visited the Wolf's Den. You had joined up with an Eladrin, I believe another dwarf, and you made your way into the sort of party that was being held at the Alchemist Association. Your goal to steal a sapphire of some kind. And you remember the alchemists creating a whole bunch of different kind of things. You don't necessarily recognize the contents of that crate. It's a dark liquid of some kind, but they do specialize in creating chemical traps.
So what's it say?
It's Mudtown. Mudtown Alchemists. Probably a trap.
Oh, Mudtown. That sounds fun.
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
They have good parties.
Mudtown's Dungannon, isn't it?
Mudtown is very close to Dungannon. Yeah, you would have heard of it.
So I do know Mudtown.
You know
Just
of
so you,
Mudtown.
just so you know, Gunter, I know Mudtown.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait. And then, because I can do this, I'm going to go, ta-da, and I'm going to show you the room that I saw. And give you a map.
It is a
Also
God.
in Comic Sans.
very distorted visual, and you don't make out much. It's just kind of lumpy shapes. You can't make like a photo on your armor. You kind of make out the edges of a box, maybe. It's like a photo that was like very, very much like flash developed, and it didn't quite fully form an image. But you see some lumps. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to you.
Yeah, so over here, that's where all of Iluktai was. And the piece of paper. And then over here is the box. And then there's a whole bunch of people. Ta-da! I put the "we are here" X. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
I point to where it would be.
So down, kind of in like the hip bone region, Warren indicates where you guys are probably, and then just people all over her shoulders and chest. Apparently, difficult to tell really what she's trying to communicate to you. Meanwhile,
Yeah. Yes.
you are in this space with Croddock. The two of these individuals are, I mean, especially the Dragonborn, very much unconscious now.
Yeah. Did Croddock retrieve that guy?
I still gone. It's only been probably about 5 minutes. Wait
What
a
he
second.
breaks his wing again?
Oh, you know what? Never mind. About 2.5 minutes go by, and you hear two sets of footsteps, and still Krodok brings this dwarf back. He's not like holding him, he's not directing him in any way. There is a hand on the dwarf, but it seems to be more reassuring than anything.
Right.
And Krodok turns to you, Heinrich.
Mm-hmm.
I've brought him back.
Thank you. Thank you. Goblin, it is, right?
Yes.
Um, there are rooms further down that are trapped and or incredibly dangerous. I would fleeing from whatever potential danger was above is probably less dangerous than what's below. There's a few rooms that you certainly would not have made it through. I would suggest you at least stick here.
Make a persuasion check.
23.
Maybe you're right. That I can't think of anything that would be worse than what's up there, but
Well, you keep saying that, but what exactly do you think is worse up there, other than just your companions?
a
who I
dragon.
think you turned.
A dragon that eats nightmares?
Okay, immediately above in the next room.
No.
Okay, so.
But that is her
It's fun.
domain starting there.
Right. You'll be safer here as long as our friends get back. You said how many days before she would check in again?
Not check in, but I have 3 days left. And he actually, because you did not let Gunter steal stuff from him,
Yeah.
he withdraws what looks like about the size of an Altoids tin. This little metal container, and kind of pops it open, and inside you can see a couple of it's like this dark mottled brown, almost like a hair gel looking consistency. And as that smell kind of rises up from it, is this almost loamy sort of smell. And actually, having smelled this before a number of times, it is the scent of grave dirt. And as you sort of take this in, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Cup of dirt.
13.
Sorry, what was that? You're breaking up a little bit there, Heinrich.
13.
13? Okay, yeah, there's something about that kind of registers with you, but hard to tell.
Okay.
Kind of flitters away in this very tense moment. But he holds it out and says, as long as I apply this every night, I won't dream. But I only have 3 days left.
That's more than enough time for them to retrieve the person and we can get out of here.
He nods his head. And at this point, he kind of thinks and goes over to this dead orc. And you can see he sort of just whispers, sorry. And he reaches in and withdraws another one of these little tins.
There you go. Buy yourself
Looks
some
at
more
it for a
time.
second. Kind of tucks them away. I will wait here for now, but they will need your help. There is an army.
Well, they are intending to fight them. I'm assuming if they. I am hoping that they are being quite hidden and that this first spook was just a spook and that is all.
He looks at his dead friend and kind of thinks of these two corpses that are up there. Although, actually, you know what? He hasn't seen them, so he doesn't know.
No,
He looks at his dead friend. So far, I hope you understand. I'm skeptical that they are not doing harm up there.
I'm gonna totally lie to his face and say, no, they wouldn't.
Make a deception check.
I am absolutely lying to him through my teeth.
You're getting pretty
It's
robot-y
terrible.
also.
It was 11.
11?
He's not confident in that.
You can see he looks around, still really nervous, and just kind of nods.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
all. If we need to book it out, they'll probably come running back down too. and at which point we can all just leave and we'll bring you.
Nods, and you can see his hands are never really leaving in his sort of tunic where those tins are. It's very much like
Sure.
a comfort item for him right now.
Right.
But he nods. Meanwhile, what are the rest of you guys doing? You're upstairs. There are many individuals beyond.
And you said there's a whole bunch of crates like scattered around?
Yeah.
All right.
It's worth noting the nearest one to you. So you would need to go. I mean, if you're thinking about trying to sneak over to those crates, there are pillars on the left side that you could kind of dart from one to the other. There is this barricade full of like sharp metal objects. You could probably hide on one side of that. The people that you're seeing are beyond those two barricades. You're seeing them a few sort of by the barricade in the middle that's down and being worked on. You could see a few in the crates and barrels beyond.
All right. I think I'm going to try to. Boop, 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 boop.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check.
28.
28. Okay, just so you two know, you are like straight robot in it. It's like a flip book almost.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm sure our internet's pretty
Maybe
crappy right now.
I can't understand what you're saying. But 28.
Ah.
So with a 28, you silently tuck yourself into the wall and up to the first pillar, only 5 feet away. Poke your head out. You quietly just slink against the wall over to the second pillar, now maybe 25 feet away. And worth noting, Shay and Gundry, you kind of watch and you can see every time she emerges, but then just kind of right back into the shadows. And before too long, Morwen, you are right in front of this barricade. You can see now jagged bits of scrap metal, twisted and torn, not necessarily shaped in like a real kind of built way, but just jammed into the front of this to form sort of like a spiky wall. You probably would have difficulty sneaking to the left, but creeping up to the right of this, you can see there are individuals no more than 10 feet away.
Do I see anything else now that I'm deeper into the room?
Make a perception check. 16. With the 16, I would say you now get a pretty good count. You wait a little bit, you start to kind of follow paths. You see of note amongst these mostly humans with a dwarf, a drow, a half-orc, and that bugbear. There is one more creature kind of hunched over and seems to move in this kind of lopsided gait. At first, there's a moment where you're kind of like, it pulls you in because there is fur on the face and this kind of longer, elongated nose. But then you notice almost rat-like features on this individual as they kind of like scamper back into the crates. But you would encounter and count roughly 12 people. And they look a lot like these people. I'll go ahead and throw that in Twitch chat for y'all as well. Bam.
Bunch of people.
You, beyond just seeing these people, I would say now, kind of tucked up here and looking to your left, you see a cage. This cage, perhaps 6 feet tall. There is actually the individual with blonde hair and that large axe in a chair directly past that. And within, you see shadowy shape just kind of sitting down, leaning up, her head back against the back of the bars. And from what you've heard, and putting all the context clues together, you'd imagine that is Helia Coldrot. Can't really make out any features from her. She is cloaked in darkness, and it is still maybe 30, 40 feet away and to your left. Aside from that, that's mostly what you see. What'd you roll?
I rolled a 16.
I would say... Oh, you rolled real high in stealth? No, that's pretty much what you see.
So focusing on the door, though, or like where, or like the gate or whatever, that Helly is behind.
Okay, yeah, she's in like a crate. Actually, not that much unlike the one. It's not hanging from anything, but it's not dissimilar to that rectangular cage that you found Millie Winslow in.
Okay, but is there any clear like lock or door or chain or anything? Like,
From the
do I see
perspective
how to open it?
from where you are, no. And you would imagine it's probably on the other side from where you are.
Okay. I'm going to creep back to the crew,
Okay.
tell them.
Okay. She
and
relays this information to you.
I think I may be able to get her out, but I need a distraction to get everyone away from it. What do you guys think?
Gunter just blinks.
What kind of distraction?
There's a guard right next to her, or there's someone guarding her crate,
Cage.
cage, her home, and there's about 12 people walking around in general. I don't know if they would be hostile towards us, but either way, it's just more eyes, and I don't want to risk potentially 13 people watch me try to take their prisoner.
Yeah.
If you have another idea or suggestion, I'm down, but I don't really see anything else if we want to get her. Either that or just screw it and let's just keep going. I don't know what to do.
Looking kind of just where we are, what are the other, like, exit points that we can see here? Like, are there stairs? Are there doors?
Across from the stairs that you came up, there's another set of stairs going down. But from where you are, Shay, you don't see any other stairs. I would say, Morwen, as part of what you saw when you crept closer, on the opposite side of the room, almost mirrored to where the two downward staircases are, there were two upward staircases, one going up into the left and one going up into the right.
Well, Shay, funny you should ask. There's a staircase going up on the left and one to the right.
Morwen relays the information to you.
So she's...
But we have no idea where they go.
No.
But they are going up.
I assume they go up.
Very helpful. Yes.
Thank you.
Thought process being, I could lead them on a little chase, but I'm not going to run into a place where I don't know where things are.
Or, Gunter, you're good at disguises. Do you think we could just dress up a goblin downstairs to look like this dwarf now that we know what she looks like? Pass her off? No, that's a joke. Anyway. Haha, thank you. So, let's go. Let's go do something. Dress up the dwarf, cause a distraction. One's less dangerous, one's more fun.
I'm surprised that Gunter isn't trying to like do this goal that he set up.
No, he's not
I mean,
happy.
you guys are keeping
We haven't
him
done
moving.
anything that he wants. He's still thinking about Kevin.
He's still mad.
What
No,
are you guys doing?
Gunter's washed his hands. He's waiting for Shay and Morwen to make all the decisions for them.
But you have input, don't you? Or like opinions on this? Your opinion is valued.
Of
valued
course,
by
I have
me.
opinions. I have opinions, and I think that the
value your
things that
opinion.
we
I'd like
should
to
be
hear
doing.
Like,
I'm gonna lean in and be like, we should get the hell out of here.
downstairs or upstairs?
How did
The left upstairs or the right upstairs?
We should have come in here, killing everyone on our way up, till we got to the top. Now we're gonna go back down. We've still got the people down there to deal with. We've got 12 people in there. That guy still lied to us.
Are you shouting still?
No, I'm
Okay.
whisper.
He's whisper yelling.
Whisper yelling, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
He stands
Okay,
back into
so-
the silence and he's like,
Gunther,
Turn the input volume back down.
those people still exist downstairs. You can kill them on the way out. Think of this as your opportunity to come up with things to do now.
You want to know what I think we should do now?
yes, please. Are you gonna flip us off? Are you gonna tell us to go fuck ourselves?
Gunter's thinking about his spells right now.
He's right there
Ah,
circling through
I
that
think
Rolodex.
yeah.
It's really rusty and hard to turn.
I just had it. Where was it?
The loading icon appears on his forehead.
Yeah. Right now, one of his eyes is like slowly drifting off to the side as he tries to think.
I think. Ah, there it is. Guardian of Faith.
He says,
How far away is the crate from us right now?
from what Morwen described to you, from you guys right now, maybe like 55, 60 feet.
Okay. I think if we want to get this done and get this job over with, we gotta get this girl and get out of here. Probably create a distraction.
That's a great idea.
I know you said it, I'm just saying. That's what we do. Now,
Okay.
I have ideas for good distractions, but I don't think that I should be making all of the decisions. Because every time I try to make the decisions, Shay makes another one, and then completely does the opposite right after. You killed that guy right after!
Here's your opportunity, Gunter. What would you like to do?
Flip flop, flip flop.
You're in charge. You're the captain now.
No.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that one didn't land.
Then I guess we don't get
Okay.
paid.
Oh, so you want is that what you're saying, Shay? You want me to come up with decisions for us? You want my input? And you want me to come up with a plan to get us through this?
In this case, you're being invited. Please, go ahead.
No, I didn't quite hear you there.
Yes, Gunter.
Did you ask for help to
Yes,
complete
Gunter.
this job?
If this
Did you-
makes it feel better to you, I need your help.
Thank you, Shay. I would be delighted to help you. Now, here's what I say we do. What's his face? Uruk-tai? He already knows we're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the element of surprise is hard to really... It's not a guarantee here, even if you could sneak up. So, distraction is the way to go. Yeah, we already decided that. Good job, Marvin. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go in there, act casual. We're like friendly, yeah? And then that's where we try to get the sneak. Boom! I got some magics. You got some speedy stuff. More when you go in. Your job is to pick the lock, get her out of there. Vamos. And then we make our escape. Shay, you're gonna have to, hold them off because you're fast. I'm a little slow, admittedly. But you'll buy us some time. We'll make some distance. And then off we go. And then we're home for some beers and...
So to be clear, Gunter, this is you acknowledging that I can assist you on the way out?
Hey, I'm not the one who's always saying that you're useless. I have admitted your strengths before, and I am not too weak to admit it now. I think you need to look at yourself and consider what you have done in this day.
Yes, Gunter, my apologies. How terrible.
Taking
of
the
me.
moral high ground after you go about killing people willy-nilly and then doing the same thing. I think that you need to take a look at yourself.
Well, by all means, Gunter, here's your chance.
I at least admit that I'm bad.
And still
I do
else.
bad things. Yeah. But at least I admit it. It's not all black and white, Missy.
Okay, so now that we have a plan,
I'm gonna start going out, getting ready.
Okay, you're just
We're
walking out.
moving. Yeah,
Okay.
we're moving.
Hunter's going. What are you guys doing?
So
Act natural.
I'm actually
Act natural.
me too. You don't want me to just okay?
Yeah,
act
come on,
natural.
let's go. We're acting natural.
Morwen,
Oh wait, I
Gunter
to
go.
draw out of
Just stick
I
with
to
the
draw out of the
plan.
map.
Okay, so you're back into
The
regular
plan.
armor.
Yeah.
Shay, what are you doing?
I'm gonna kind of duck around the corner and
Okay.
kind of disappear for a minute.
Make a stealth check then, Shay. And then Gunter and Morwen, go ahead and either both of you make a performance. Excellent. Either both of you make a performance check or one of you can at advantage.
I'm gonna nudge Morwen forward, be like, act natural, guidance.
Okay.
You should probably do it, I think.
Okay, but just to be clear, are we saying we're friends of Volatiles here to see him?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
plan.
Okay.
We're buddies. We're coming in. We're on your side, you know?
Yeah, I got it.
I'm gonna come on, you got this.
Okay, so that is a 34.
Is that a natural 20?
No, it's a 19.
It's a 19. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not an expert in performance, so it's a 32.
Oh.
Perfect.
Poo.
Okay, planned. It's. I can't speak.
It
Go
sounds
for
like the beginning of a joke. But it's a Baxi and a dwarf walk into a hallway. Stride out into the brightly lit chamber, the ceilings high above you. In front of you, this large crate. Now, are you walking by this crate?
Is it the
Straight
one with
line?
the alchemist goop?
Yep.
I recognize that it's a trap
Okay.
from my previous role. You're like,
Okay.
ah, that's a trap. We gotta.
So he just
Don't
grabs my
touch
shoulders
it.
and re-steers me. No, I don't know.
So, in
Well-
which way are you going to go around it? Because it's this big 20 by 10 foot rectangle in the middle of the room that you're going to have to pass on either side.
Can I try to discern how the trap might activate or what, like,
Oh,
Make an
I
investigation.
say the word.
what this?
What is the word, Moron?
Can I roll to remember? Because he
Make-
did tell
yeah,
me.
sure.
Oh,
Make
it
an
was
intelligence.
just.
I know. I know
It was
that's.
just odd, yes.
I say, oh, just stop.
Okay, you say that.
I'm Morwen.
No, that's the trap thing, right?
Oh.
That's how we get by this, I think. All right.
And then we're still gonna warily, because I'm still like, I don't trust that guy.
Okay.
He was wrong before. He said there were two.
So you walk by this crate. You feel very quiet. Not very quiet, sorry. You feel pretty convincing in your act, but you kind of take more and a little bit away from it. And you begin to walk. And as you go by the crate, you would hear this kind of. And you turn and look. And within this wooden crate, that black liquid now, there's a ripple as if somebody's dropped a stone on the left side and the right side. They seem to kind of overlap for a moment. And then there is this kind of. And this one long kind of black tendril, almost like an arm, reaches out. And suddenly it begins to roll. And you would see one of these emerge.
Oh, jeez.
And as that one emerges over the other side of the crate, and a second begins to pull itself out. And because it's midnight, that is where we're going to end for the evening. I will say, as these are pulling out, there are faces turning towards you.
Act
Um,
natural!
that is where we're going to end for the evening. So for all of you who stuck around and stayed for the entirety of the thing or just kind of here with us now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us in the adventure that is Adventures in Alberon and the dynamic relationship that the Fire Gang shares. They work like a smoothly oiled machine.
Who does
So,
not
yeah.
know it's a purpose or creator.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for joining in and for the subscriptions, for the bits. They'll really help because I kind of fund most of this and all the little miniatures and all that kind of stuff does get expensive, but it's super cool. Some of the stuff that we've been able to do because of your guys' support, like all the artwork and all that kind of stuff, largely because of you. So thank you so much for that. We will be back, I believe, next Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on twitch.tv/AlberonRPG. Tell your friends, join us next week to see what comes from this very large battle. But we'll see you
We're
then.
probably gonna die.
Bye.
Ah.